freedom. Obsessions always jumping through. I'm so tangled, I'm so worthy. I'm just lost in my reflection. Pay attention, you never will. I will overanalyze and fall victim. Myself, I'm still tangled, I'm not worried, 'cause I am caught up in this perfection. Pay attention, yeah, you never will, 'cause you depend, so you always will. If you arrest yourself again, I'll help you clean up the mess.
Let's go! What is up? Let's go, baby. We got a new edition. Got a new addition to the fam. You ready? Here we go. Let's go. Oh, shit. Later, Elon, you fucking piece of shit. Dude, let's go. Yeah, I know I'm a night guy. anything like I need you. You know I do. Oh shit, I already grabbed it. Spacing out with reality and permit me to breathe before I do it again. Anything like I need you. Do you need anything like I need you? It's all about you. Do you need anything like I need you? Let's go. Dude, 𝗙𝗪𝗧𝗏, bro. Can I just tell you that even the thought of 𝗙𝗪𝗧𝗏 just gives me the heebie-jeebies, bro. Right? You know what I mean? Like, think about the ramifications of being 𝗙𝗪𝗧𝗏. The dude is a rapist, right? He is a rapist. You know? These guys are fucking degenerates. Pendulous! Let's go, baby! Dude, yeah, he's so gross. Dude, so you know his pastor is like fucked up, right? Let's go. Thank you! Pendulous, appreciate you, boss. He sounds like you would expect in Northern Idaho. I mean, let's be honest, dude. Northern Idaho is the white supremacist fucking ground zero of white supremacy in America. Like the training ground. So you know it's real rapey up there too. All right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but now there's this thing on Twitter where there's something where MAGA thinks if they see like dancing girls, right? If there's college girls dancing or something, they're like, oh, the libs don't like this, which is like, whatever, you know? And I was like commenting under one of those today because they're implying that all these white college girls are just like MAGA people now. And I'm like, dude, they're going to get raped by a MAGA bro like before they're done with college, and they will be so over MAGA, right? I mean, let's be honest. We know that the rapier crew are the MAGA set. We know this, okay? I guarantee you, like 9 out of 10 rapes are committed by fucking Trump supporters. I shit you not, dude. Pendulous, let's go, baby. Appreciate it, dude. Slacking back on chats, dude. You're killing it, bro. Are you kidding me? Let's go. Dude, you know it. You know sexual assaults, 9 out of 10 are MAGA. Yeah, it's horrible, dude. It's horrible. And it's fucking really bothers me too because nobody's doing anything about it on college campuses, right? They're attacking the 10 transgender athletes, but nobody is fucking doing shit to the people that are actually committing fucking crimes, like those kinds of crimes on college campuses. And that shit is rampant. That shit is rampant. Oh my God. It's like so bad. Good morning, good morning. You're having a rough week? Yikes, bro. Dude, that seems rough. Sorry about that. Whew. All right. So, we're gonna fucking move through some shit here. Dude, we're gonna pile through some stuff. So the first thing I want to look at, okay, is, the first thing I want to look at is that Jillian Michaels clip. Holy shnikes. I don't know if you guys saw this, but so the one of the things that has happened now since moving to PBD, right? Since Jillian and Anna and Lindy Lee and that other person that nobody ever remembers her name because she hardly ever speaks. And when she does, it's with a terrible accent. Amy Dangerfield, right? Since they have become part of, the PBD valuetainment world, they're now like going on CNN, okay? Much more often, they're showing up on CNN. But this clip from Jillian Michaels is absolutely batshit. Hold on, let me find it. All right, you ready? Here we go. All right. So we got to look at this clip. This clip is absolutely batshit. Dude, I mean, this is Trumpism, okay? This is the age of Trumpism here, where Jillian Michaels goes on CNN and she does a slavery, like, both sides routine. She does a slavery, like, wasn't that bad? Not that many people in America owned slaves. I mean, forget that our entire economy in the 16, 17, and 1800s, everything that built the American empire was built on the backs of the enslaved. All those textile mills in the North, all of the tobacco that was both used in the North and exported around the world, all of that shit came from the enslaved, man. Like, it doesn't matter how many percentage of American citizens own slaves. The fact of the matter was, America created an economy that was built on slavery, and everybody in America profited from this. And then eventually we had to fight a goddamn civil war to end this. And now this party that Jillian Michaels is a part of is now, like, making content for. This party wants to, like, overturn some of the, ending, like, trying to counteract white supremacy. She's now with the party that's trying to roll back the clock on that shit. Dude, this shit is crazy. All right, you ready? Let's watch this clip. This unfucking believable, okay? Unfucking believable what we're about to witness. I mean, I'll be honest, guys. I don't know how somebody goes on national TV and tries to, like, it wasn't that bad, talking about slavery. I don't understand it. I don't understand how a white person can even begin to engage in that line of thinking. Okay? Isn't it crazy? And what's more, guys, you ready for this? Here's something that's very damning that I want you to process. If you look at, like, the family lineage, if you look at any American family any American family, you look at a family lineage that has a large amount of money, okay? If they're well-to-do, if they have had money and property passed down through the generations, almost every wealthy family or every family of money in America, if you go back in their history, they will be tied to slavery in some way. Okay? It's crazy. And if you look at people that are from poor families and shit, they're not. Okay? The legacy of the families that were involved in slavery and the amount of wealth that they were able to pass down through the generations and how that wealth has grown and grown, almost every affluent family has a connection to it. It's wild. It is wild. And if it wasn't here in America, you could go back to where they immigrated from, and you would find it there. It really is one of the major determinants of who possesses generational wealth to this day. And of course, the people of color, whether they were descended from slavery or whether they were born long after it and had nothing to do with it, the people of color still struggle to have any generational wealth to pass along. Why? Because our real estate, our financial, our judicial, our policing, our economic, every single system in America we have was founded on that enslavement, white supremacy, white power, white having the wealth like system. So people of color have even, 150 years later, okay, 170 years later, they still haven't been able to outrun that legacy. But watch Jillian. This is crazy, dude. Mind-blowing.
Have you looked at some of the things that are being reviewed?
Yeah, slavery was a bad thing that was to talk about.
Okay.
Like,
he's not whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No,
okay.
he's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that...
All right, so they're talking about, I believe, the exhibits that are getting changed in the museum, right? Or the art, okay? The changing of how we view this slavery. Now, I want to pause right there because what Jillian said, you cannot tie slavery to just one race. In America, you can. Okay, American slavery was perpetrated by one race and one race alone. Okay, period. Okay, and you can look at most slavery, okay, and it was tied to one race, okay, predominantly. Now, you go to Africa and there was slavery there too, but it was very different in Africa because in Africa, slavery was a punishment for being conquered. Okay, so what happened in Africa was African tribes or nations warred, and the winning nation took the people that they beat as indebted workers. Okay, so they still had it, and it was still there. Now, obviously, it wasn't white people because everybody there was dark skinned, but it was a little bit different because it was like winning a war and then enslaving the people they conquered, okay? Which, don't get me wrong, that is toxic as fuck and hideous too. But that is a far cry than actually taking people from another location and importing them to your area exclusively, right? Somebody that you've never even gotten involved with, you know what I'm saying? And yes, it's like they industrialized it. Exactly. That's a great way of putting it. Like white people turned slavery into a business. Okay. They literally turned it into a fucking an economic, modality. And that is fucking something that we need to fix that karma. But dude, she's defending this shit. I'm going to let the whole thing play. I just had to stop it there because she makes my brain melt. But look at her face in the beginning here, guys, when she talks about whitewashing slavery and she gets this smug grin on her face. Jillian Michaels does. It's like a scoffing grin. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, the fucking the look on her face is gnarly.
Have you looked at some of the things that are being reviewed?
Yeah, slavery was a bad thing that was to talk about.
Okay.
Like,
he's not whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No,
okay.
he's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that when you
anti-slavery,
let's talk about the fact.
Slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
Do you realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people.
Dude, she's talking to a fucking black man, like minimizing slavery to a fucking black man. The goddamn nerve, dude. What the fuck are we watching? Does it make your blood boil? Like, my blood boils when I fucking see this. And look at the arrogance on her face. She's got her chin out there. She is straight up like bottom of the fucking barrel, bro. Dude. Now, I'm not going to advocate for hitting a woman, all right? I don't believe, I'm not going there. But, like, the nerve, the fucking nerve, okay? Dude, oh my God.
Let's talk about the fact.
Slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people were
Do you know
the slave
who
owners.
was the first race to try to end slavery?
Wait a second.
Well, what's controversial?
I'm very surprised.
This is an extraordinary exercise in historical revisionism.
I'm really surprised.
Revisionism. Do you realize that?
Jillian, I'm surprised that you're trying to litigate who was the beneficiary of slavery and who was not.
What I'm trying to tell you is that
in the context of American history. Okay. In the context of American history, what are you saying is incorrect by saying that it was white people oppressing black people?
Every single thing is like, oh, no, this is all because white people bad. And that's just not the truth. Like, for example, every single exhibit, I have a list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad.
Yeah, well, Jillian, how about this? How about, like, yeah, white people bad. So how about white people stop being bad, okay? Right now, white people bad. White MAGA people trying to roll back the Civil Rights fucking Act, roll back the Voting Rights Act, using dog whistles about racism, lying about them, the black people eating their pets. That's white people bad. You dumb bitch. Like, goddamn, bro. What the fuck, dude? You know what I'm saying? It's like the thing about this is white people bad doesn't mean white people can't be good, but it does mean we got to stop being bad, right? You know what I'm saying? We got to stop being bad, okay? Like, you know what I mean? Like, for example, if I look at my history, my family history, okay, if I go back through my family, it's men bad, okay? The men in my family, they were abusers. They were alcoholics. They were woman beaters, okay? They were child abusers, okay? Men bad in my family lineage, right? That doesn't mean I'm bad, okay? It was the fact of me acknowledging men bad in my generational trauma that got me to go to therapy, got me to get sober, got me to break that chain so I didn't become men bad. But like not being able to look at white people bad, not being able to look at men bad makes it so we don't improve, okay? We don't improve. And Jillian Michaels here is you know, sitting here like on a panel with a bunch of black people who feel the effects of American white supremacy every fucking day. And she's like telling them like, you know what? Like, why are you like holding the white people responsible for this? No, damn God. Dude, what the fuck, man? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It is like so crazy. She is really crazy. Dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody is like anti-Jewish here, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you chiming that in? We're not even talking about that. You know what I'm saying? No, nobody's even talking about Jewish people. Chill TF, baby. There's nobody, right? Dude. So, I don't care. I don't care what her fucking nationality is, right? I care that she's whitewashing slavery. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like, what is your deal? You're trying to tell me that I can't be critical of Jillian Michaels? You're asking to be removed from the fucking chat? The problem? Dude. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're saying that, like, you're saying that because she's Jewish, she's the problem? All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Later. Smell ya. Was nice knowing you. Oh, that ended real fast. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just knew that was probably not going to be around for a long time. You know what I mean? I don't even know what that was, dude. Jesus, right? Dude, people are fucking like, I don't like that fucking anti-Semitism weirdness. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, they just come out of the fucking woodwork, dude, with this fucking weird shit. Yeah, they came in hot. They left hot. But anyway, to get back to Jillian Michaels here. So this idea that Jillian Michaels is like, stop saying white people are bad. But I don't understand why she's affected by, you know what I mean? Like, can she not accept the fact that white people in America bad and be a white person who's not bad? I mean, is that not possible for her? Does she have to, you know what I mean? And like, can she not look at like all the things that white people have done? And because the fact of the matter is Jillian Michaels has as much white guilt as anybody. White guilt is everywhere in America. And you are either aware that you experience it or you're not aware that you're experiencing it. And the people who are not aware that they're experiencing it, I think, are the people running around doing what Jillian Michaels is, which is saying, stop saying white people are bad, right? But it's like, stop being bad, Jillian, and we'll stop saying it. You know what I'm saying? Stop being bad, and we will stop saying it. But you're bad, Jillian. You're being bad. Oh my God, dude.
A list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad. Not because of Castro. Yes, no, it's in there. That's what I'm saying. You don't actually know what's in there. Do you know that when you walk in the front door,
what exactly,
the first thing you see is the gay flag?
Dude, see, I want to see the long form of this. Do we have a link to the long form of this? Right? Yeah, I never, here's a longer clip. Let's see this longer clip. Because I want to see the end bit. I want to see where she goes with this. All right, you ready? I'm letting this one play. We're going to watch it in its entirety. Yeah, I know she doesn't know Cuban history, right? Because the reality is the people leaving Cuba is a lot more complicated than white people bad. I mean, obviously, if you look at the colonization of the Americas, both North and South America, there's a lot of white people bad. I mean, there's a lot of Catholic white people bad, right? Who came here, Catholic Europeans, and they basically put their little fucking, you know, whatever gunpowder loaded pistols right up against the natives' heads and said, you can be Catholic or you can be dead, right? And by the way, we're taking all this shit. All this land is now ours. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, it was not a good start to how we fucking got here. But all right, let's watch this. I'm just blown away, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just blown away. Okay. I'm just blown away at fucking this. Like it's like the emboldened nature. Okay. The emboldened nature of white supremacists. You know what I'm saying?
Slavery was a bad thing that was to talk about.
Okay.
Like he forgives
He's
you for
not
saying that.
whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No.
Okay.
He's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that when you look
United States.
let's talk about the fact.
I mean, slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people were
Do you know
the slave
who
owners.
was the first race to
I didn't
try
realize
to
this was
end
controversial.
slavery?
Wait a second.
Okay.
What was controversial?
I'm very surprised
This is
that
an
you're trying to
extraordinary
litigate.
exercise in historical revisionism.
I'm really surprised.
Do you realize that
Jillian, I'm surprised that you're trying to litigate who was the beneficiary of slavery and
I'm
who
not.
was not.
What I'm trying to tell you is
in
that
the context of American history.
Okay.
In the context of American history, what are you saying is incorrect by
What I'm
saying
is
that
you
it was white
cannot-
people oppressing black
Every
people?
single thing is like, oh, no, this is all because white people bad. And that's just not the truth. Like, for example, every single exhibit, I have a list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad. Not because of Castro. Yes, no, it's in there. That's what I'm saying. You don't actually know what's in there. Do you know that when you walk in the front door, the first thing you see is the gay flag?
Jillian, you have a lot of stuff in front
Yeah,
of
I
you.
do,
What
because I don't,
exactly
because here's the
are
thing.
you talking about?
Okay, I'll give you an example.
Yeah, please.
There's one called Change Your Game, right? This has been an installation there. Is gender testing fair in sports? Does that, and then it goes on to talk about how it's complex to do gender testing in sports.
Dude, so she jumped from slavery to transphobia? Like, what in the actual fuck, bro? Like, literally, she just went on that show to be transphobic and like going from slavery to, oh, here's my real agenda, is they have an exhibit there about trans people. Oh! Dude, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Right? What is wrong with these people? They are obsessed. Dude, she thinks about transgender, like, existence more than trans people do. Like, literally, bro. Oh, you found the full segment. Let's go. Oh, my God, Natalie's the best. All right, here we go. We're going in, dude. We're going in. Oh, shit. All right, this is the whole segment. You ready? Yeah, let's go. We're watching this whole thing. All right. Dude. Holy shnikes. Trump Kennedy Center. All right, here we go. Here we go.
Tonight, Donald Trump is casting himself as producer, director, and star of a political litmus test for art.
Yes. Now there you go, though. You notice this? Like, what's happening here? One of the things that is a piece of this thing is how what Trump wants to do, okay, what Trump is desiring to do is he is desiring to make it so the art that is available, the Kennedy Center, etc., has to pass his sort of personal political thing. Right? I mean, dude, we are literally in the whole, like, you know what I'm saying? We're in the Hitler zip code right now. When you have a single individual who is casting himself as the chief decider of what political voice can be heard anywhere in the US realm, right? It's all up to Trump, right? Jesus, dude. Yeah, I mean, of course, the art is going to be terrible, okay? It's going to be terrible. It is, because conservative people, they don't make good art. They make terrible fucking art, bro, because their art is like, they're the least self-aware people out there. And you have to be incredibly self-aware, and you have to have a tremendous amount of empathy to be able to translate like the pain and the wonder of the world into art, okay? Without empathy and without compassion, without the ability to truly sit in the experience of another, you cannot make great art, okay? The very act of making great art is by taking in the experiences of others and channeling through them through you, okay? It's like that empathy is a requirement. But here we go.
Trump announced his pick for the year's Kennedy Center honors today. he made it quite clear that he personally greenlit these honorees based on their politics.
I would say I was about 98% involved. No, they all went through me. They came over, Rick and Sergio and everybody. They said, I turned down plenty.
Dude, we've seen how gaudy his living space is, too, so we know he's picking the real art, right?
It was too woke. I had a couple of wokesters. No, we have great people. This is very different than it used to be.
And yes, we can set a goal for dance party. Let me do that real quick. Light blue, fucking 45. I'll do 45 minutes. Dance party. Let's go, baby. There it is. There it is. The goal has been set. 45 minutes. Dance party. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right, here we go.
Much to everyone's surprise, Trump also announced that he'll be hosting this year's ceremony so that it rates well.
It's going to be a big evening. I've been asked to host. Do you believe what I have to do? And I didn't want to do it, okay? They're going to say, he insisted. I did not insist. But I think it will be quite successful, actually.
CNN media analyst Sarah Fisher joins us in our fifth seat. Donald Trump, as we all know, Sarah, has an insatiable appetite to be at the center of attention. But the way that he has inserted himself in the arts, and I mean, we were just talking about local law enforcement, but particularly in this area of the Kennedy Center, the arts, the Smithsonian, he is inserting himself right in the heart of things that people typically don't think about the president when they think of the Kennedy Center honors, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's why Donald Trump really always hits the cultural zeitgeist. He knows really well how to get people talking, how to get people interested, how to get people looking. I mean, that's what Donald Trump does.
Aggravated as well. Like,
yeah, for sure.
He does some of this stuff just to like get a rise out of people.
For sure, but I actually agree with Donald Trump that him hosting this thing is probably going to get good ratings, just because anytime you have something that's novel, people are going to tune in. And
Dude, again though, him hosting it, get good ratings, but like, dude, it's not getting good ratings because of the event, right? It's just turning it into the same fucking Trump schlop that everything else is, where he's gonna stand up there and he's gonna give a fucking chaotic, senseless, brain dead fucking speech, blathering about nothing, right? It's gonna be highly charged, racist, transphobic, political, okay? It will have no artistic, like, fucking viability through the whole thing, right? It'll be his usual brain dead fucking train wreck, right? And everybody will watch it just to confirm that we are, in fact, experiencing the worst fucking timeline in the history, right? You know what I mean? That's it. That's what it is, okay? And then I believe he's giving himself an award. You know what I mean? That's part of it too, is he's doing it so he can actually give himself an award.
I think that this is what, in his mind, I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with it, but in his mind, this is what he thinks needs to get done to bring this thing up, to get the, attention that people,
Dude, what? This woman's an idiot, right? Oh, not that I agree with it, but like, she's like, dude, oh shit.
Followers want. If you take a look at his argument about the wokeism, typically, Kennedy Center honors has been...
Dude, wokeism doesn't exist. There's no such thing as wokeism, okay? You have compassion for your fellow human beings, or you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it, right? You are either compassionate or you're not, right? You're either not racist or you're racist, okay? There's not wokeism. There's people with empathy and compassion that seek equity and are not racist or misogynist or fucking xenophobic. And then there's everybody else that's not that. That is, right? Wokeism. Wokeism's this idea that everything the white Christian dickheads don't like gets to be put under the label of wokeism. Look at her face, though. Jesus Christ. I don't even know who this person is. Sarah Fisher from Axios. Yeah, a media correspondent. Like using the phrase wokeism.
Pretty bipartisan split. I attended in 2022 where you had George Clooney, huge Democratic booster, and Amy Grant, a Christian rock star. So typically it has been bipartisan. I look at what happens in 2025 of who he's nominated now. You have George Strait, you have Gloria Gaynor. So to me, this doesn't feel like the most MAGA ceremony ever. It feels like the most Trumpian ceremony ever, however, in the fact that he's hosting it.
I don't know that, I mean, my point about the Kennedy Center honors is that I really just don't think of politics when I think about the Kennedy Center honors. But to your point...
Everything's politics with Donald Trump.
Well,
that's the thing.
Now everything is politics with Donald Trump.
There's a precedent for this. A long-standing one. Clinton was involved, Bush was involved, Obama was involved.
But in what respect? What are
In
you talking
every
about?
in every
Did they
single.
appoint themselves as the chair people of the Kennedy Center?
They did actually appoint himself.
So not themselves.
Hold on a second. Let me just clarify. Let me just clarify one thing just to that
They
point.
were involved.
Presidents are involved in the selection process for the honorees. But when I say I don't think about politics when I think of the Kennedy Center honors, it's because usually when the honorees are announced, you don't see the president doing a press conference at the Kennedy Center.
Yes.
He's not on the stage.
Yes, he's going to go up there and do a Trump rally at the Kennedy Center is what he's going to do, right? So it's a chance for him to take yet another piece of like American fucking entertainment and turn it into his own personal fucking right-wing political jerk-off fest, right? To infect everybody with his racist, misogynist, teen girl, rapey, Epstein fucking booty-licking fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? And then he's going to give himself an award that he doesn't deserve, that he would never get if he didn't strong-arm the fucking process.
Hosting the thing. He's sitting in a box and he's waving and laughing and clapping. And George Bush did it. Donald Trump did not do it. Barack Obama did it. Joe Biden did it. Presidents have done it and it has come and gone. And people don't think of this as a political thing. They think of this as a celebration of American art.
But there are people in there that can't stand him and reject his endorsement. It's not partisan at all, actually. I mean, you said yourself, you've got...
Yeah, there was nobody that like hated Obama, right? What the fuck is she talking about? There's people that hate him. Yeah, nobody hated Obama. They were just literally like walking around with fucking nooses while he was president. Like, oh my God, a clown world.
Country singers and Gloria Gaynor, who's associated with the gay community. I mean, there's absolutely...
We don't know what Gloria Gaynor's politics are, just to
Okay,
be
but
super
the
clear.
Rolling
I don't
Stones
know
hate him.
anything
Elton John
about-
hates him. They've come
Yeah.
out and said, we hate him. We reject his endorsement.
In this case, I don't know the politics of all of them. Stallone, I think, has been a Republican and a supporter.
He's a strong
but
Trump
Gene
supporter,
Simmons of KISS has been highly critical of Donald Trump.
Exactly my point. Many are.
I seem to recall he was somewhat supportive of President Bush back in the day, but he's been very critical of Trump and made public statements about it. So the fact that Trump was 98% involved in choosing it, but decided to overlook Gene Simmons' critical statements, I think, is something to be noted.
Well, he said that it was Rick and Sergio who were the people who brought him these candidates and that he reviewed them. I don't know to what extent he was intimately involved in vetting every single one. But to your point, Abby, this is not typically something where the president comes out, appoints himself, he's now been appointed the chair of the Kennedy Center. He's trying to take ownership of it. I think they're trying to rename parts of it after Melania. So he's clearly trying to take over this culturally.
There's a bill in Congress to rename the center after Donald Trump himself.
And Rick Grenell earlier this week, he said, let's be clear, real Donald Trump saved the Kennedy Center, a building literally falling apart. Their neglect seemed criminal. Donald J. Trump absolutely saved the Kennedy Center from being demolished.
Quite the opposite. Well, he's driving down revenues for the Kennedy Center. I think subscription revenues are down by 36%. Theater-specific revenues are down by more than 80%.
Dude, he's going to kill the Kennedy Center just like he killed the casino, bro. Everything Trump touches turns to shit. And it always has, dude. He has the anti-Midas touch. Okay? That guy has literally will get a deal and turn it to shit. Always.
It was once said of Oprah Winfrey that everything she touches turns into gold. The Trump effect is the opposite of the Oprah effect. He's poisoning what is an iconic and historically bipartisan institution.
There is an ideological bent to how they have tried to manage this place. I mean, first of all, putting Rick Grenell in charge you couldn't be more partisan than that.
Yeah, Rick Grenell, by the way, is the guy who helped get the Tates to be able to leave Romania. FYI. Rick Grenell, all right, he's a real fucking piece of trash.
And I think it will be a question of what does happen to this place. I mean, is this an attempt of Trump to kind of reshape the Kennedy Center, to strip the Kennedy legacy from the place? He jokingly, I assume, referred to it as the Trump-Kennedy Center in one of his social media posts this week.
Well, I don't think it was a joke because there is a bill in Congress to change it to the Trump Center. So I don't think he was. First of all, I don't think Donald Trump jokes. I think Donald Trump signals what he's going to do. It's also part of a larger thing here. He's trying to change culture generally. He's gone into the Smithsonian and he's effectively now has some random person deciding what is appropriate for the Smithsonian to teach in terms of American history, things that don't offend parts of the MAGA base, right? So we're now literally reviewing parts of American history and parts of American culture to make sure it comports.
You see her face? Did you see that? Like the minute, like anything that portrays the nastiness that white people have perpetrated. Did you see her face? She is like so, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird because she was a gay woman that went into Hollywood and became a Democrat and got her gay marriage and got her money and whatever and got to be a big star. And now she's just like one of the most rotten white supremacy upholding fucking, she is a Klan mom. My God, that's a great term, dude. She is a total Klan mom. She is, dude. Jesus.
With Dear Leader and what the MAGA
Can we
organization
address
wants.
some of those things that are in there? Because have you looked at some of the things that are being reviewed?
Slavery was a bad thing that we should talk about.
Okay.
Like,
He's not whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No,
Okay.
he's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism
Here we go.
and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every
you
single
can.
exhibit does.
In America,
Well, let's
you
talk
can.
about the fact that when you
In the
look
United
at
States.
Let's talk about slavery. Let's talk about Jim Crow. Let's talk about segregation. Let's talk about you fucking MAGA shitheads.
Talk about the fact.
I mean, slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans own slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You realize that
African
slavery
Americans
is
were
thousands
slaves
of
and
years old?
White people were
Do you know
the slave
who
owners.
was the first race to
I didn't
try
realize
to
this was
end
controversial.
slavery?
Okay.
Well, what's controversial?
I'm very surprised
This is
that
an
you're trying to
extraordinary
litigate
exercise in historical revisionism. I would say.
I'm really
Historical
surprised.
revisionism. Do you realize that
Jillian, I'm surprised that you're trying to litigate who was the beneficiary of slavery and
I'm
who
not.
was not.
What I'm trying to tell you
in
is
the
that
context of American history.
Okay.
In the context of American history, what are you saying is incorrect by
what I'm
saying
is
that
you
it was white
cannot-
people oppressing black people?
Every single thing is like, oh, no, this is all because white people bad. And that's just not the truth. Like, for example,
It is the
every
truth.
single exhibit, I have a list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad. Not because of Castro. Yes, no, it's in there. That's what I'm saying. You don't actually know what's in there. Do you know that when you walk in the front door,
what exactly?
the first thing you see is the gay flag?
Jillian, you have a lot of stuff in front
Yeah,
of
I
you.
do,
What
because I don't,
exactly
because here's the
are
thing.
you talking about?
Okay, I'll give you an example.
Yeah, please.
There's one called Change Your Game, right? This has been an installation there. Is gender testing fair in sports? Does that, and then it goes on to talk about how it's complex to do gender testing in sports. It's not complex. It's basic science. That's untrue. It's XX chromosome, XY chromosome.
Oh my God, dude, she literally hijacked this whole show to do her fucking transphobic, like, dude, she is a eugenics freak, bro. Oh my God, she literally just jumped. Like, what the fuck, bro?
That's sports. Is it fair to have biological men competing against biological women in sports? No, but why is this in the Smithsonian? So it's been completely captured.
First of all, I don't.
And
think
it's totally partisan.
We don't. First of all, we don't have time to litigate all of this.
Of course we don't, because then you're going to lose the argument.
No.
Everything is racialized, just like you're trying to do to me now.
Excuse me.
It's like, I can't believe you're trying to suggest, that slavery is a good thing.
Dude, she is like literally playing the victim, right? She is playing the victim of like, you're trying to silence me. You're oppressing my whiteness. Like, what the fuck, dude? Wow, she is a degenerate fucking scumbag.
Brought up race.
No,
this was a conversation about the arts, and you brought up race.
It isn't.
You brought up.
But the whole point of this is that the issue
you brought up slavery, and you brought up the
actually
question
didn't.
of whether.
You did.
You brought up
And
the
my
question of
point-
whether or not slavery in the United States is about race? The answer is
No, I didn't.
yes.
Of course. I did
Slavery
not say
in
that.
the United States
don't
is
straw man
about
my argument
race.
because that's not what I
Dude.
said.
What are
She
you
brought
talking
up
about?
slavery. And what I was talking about is that this isn't really about that. When you make every single exhibit about white imperialism when it isn't relevant at all, that is a problem.
But it's not a problem though, Jillian, because everything in America is white imperialism. It literally is the root of everything in our history. Okay? Everything in our history. White imperialism. White people came and they took the land. They extinguished the natives. They cut off their food supply. They restricted where they could be. Okay? They took all of that land. Then they farmed it and built an economy on white imperialism, on enslavement. Okay? And then they fought a war, right, to get free from England. Why? Because of white imperialism. Because England had abolished slavery. That was the revolution. They knew it was coming here too. So they decided to separate from England to make sure that they could keep their slavery going. Then they fought a civil war here, white imperialism, okay? And then the side that lost, they still made concessions to them after they lost. All right? And white imperialism. Then there were the black codes and Jim Crow, white imperialism. Then there was segregation, white imperialism. Then there was redlining, white imperialism. There is a financial center called Wall Street. That was literally the slave trading market of New York City, white imperialism. Like, my God. And now they're funding Israel, white imperialism in the Middle East. Okay? Trump, Gaza, you know, I mean, what the fuck? White imperialism with the mass marauders grabbing everyone who's brown? Dude, Mr. Long Ears, let's fucking go, baby. White imperialism is literally all of American history. Everything we are right now is on the basis of fucking white imperialism.
So when you're talking about Cubans leaving Cuba and you make it about white people bad, that's not accurate.
Can I just say, zooming
That's
out,
my point.
on
All
this-
right,
on the-
we're gonna move on
I was
from
saying
that. Go
on the
ahead.
arts thing, I think why this is hitting such a chord right now is because Donald Trump has mandated all of these changes at places like the Smithsonian, pulling out pictures from various government agencies. But what's different is with the Kennedy Center, he's taking a much more proactive role. I think that's why we are looking at this issue today thinking, wow, it's hit a different point than it ever has been before.
No, what it is he's such a blatant white supremacist. And then his benefactors, his fucking little buddies like Jillian Michaels and Scott Jennings are such blatant eugenics-driven white supremacist, xenophobic fucking assholes that won't shut the fuck up, that literally everywhere they go, they have to inject their eugenics bullshit into every conversation. A discussion about the Smithsonian has to be some fucking gender chromosomal, let me look under your skirt and give you a fucking Nancy Mace test because of this dumb fucking white bitch, right? And it's like, that's why people are like, Jesus Christ, this is exhausting. It's not because he's like injecting himself into it. It's because he's turning it into a eugenics fucking return to fucking enslavement bullshit. That's why.
Do you think the honorees, though, are generally acceptable to most Americans? I mean, these are huge stars.
Yeah, they
I don't
are
have a
because
problem with
just the ratings have been good. They are. And like I said before, giving you the example of Amy Grant and George Clooney, the board has been bipartisan and has tried to get people that walk all cracks of life, including politics. I just think that I was expecting, quite frankly, if Donald Trump was going to name honorees, I was expecting this to go a much more further right direction than it actually
Which
did.
kind of begs the question, what exactly was the problem he was trying to solve? Because, I mean, to your point...
Manufacturing a problem for the
Yeah, I think
sake
the
of-
board
yeah.
has been, actually is bipartisan because Republican and Democratic presidents get to appoint people to that board. And it's really not, again, it's not really a political thing. It has not been until now.
He doesn't need a problem. He just wants control. He wants to be the center of every institution, the center of everyone's attention. You know, he's not a conservative because he's not interested in conserving institutions. It's all about his narcissism. It's all about Trump. That's
Exactly.
the common thread.
It's about his narcissism, his misogyny, his transphobia, and his racism, right? Dude, she is such a scoundrel, bro. She looks like she's fucking hitting the Ozempic pretty hard too, dude. Jesus.
On.
And it tends to get good ratings. I will say that.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
does.
look, it's
yeah.
popular.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm sure, dude. I'm sure it gets good ratings. If we fucking publicly executed somebody and filmed it, it would get good ratings. That doesn't mean it's gonna be beneficial for fucking humanity. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus. The ratings are not the fucking only thing, okay? Because of course you want good ratings, just do the most rotten, outlandish shit. That's the way you get good ratings, okay? You do rotten, outlandish shit, period, all right? That's how you do it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Jillian Michaels are going after gay marriage. Yeah, but so Jillian doesn't care, right? She doesn't care about the gay marriage because she's wealthy enough that she can move to wherever gay marriage is legal. So she doesn't care because she got her gay marriage, okay? She got her gay marriage. You know what I'm saying? So why the auto mod? There is no auto mod. I mean, YouTube just fucking moderates stuff sometimes. So I don't know, like, but I don't have anything set up, boss. It's just YouTube is finicky, bro. But she got gay married and she is wealthy enough to where she can get gay married wherever. You know what I mean?
Because it is about art. And so we'll see what happens when politics becomes much more intertwined into this show.
But yeah, it's going to be dog shit.
Tonight.
But all right, that was good. That was a good clip. Dude, the gall of these fucking people, bro. You know what I'm saying? Dude, yeah, no, Casmo, you are so right there, right? What Casmo said in chat, I think is something that is really fucking, you know what I'm saying? So, says the vast majority of white people are used to speaking only to other white people about black people and the black experience. And that is like so true that it is hard because most people's like entire sort of like education around the black experience comes from talking to other white people, and they don't actually interact with black people and get a black person's take on it. And in fact, I think it goes beyond just a black person. I think it really helps to survey black people, like plural, right? If you can, and from varying age groups, because what's interesting about it is there's a lot of different experiences among people of color as well. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, it's one of the things, like, for example, in AA, one of my early sponsors was a black man. And like, dude, he was so different than my white sponsors. You know what I'm saying? Like, my white sponsors were like really severe and they were harsh. And in the beginning, when I was first getting sober, that was kind of like something that I needed. But then I was like, God, I don't like the harshness. I need some nurturing. And I had a black guy who was a sponsor, and he was like wildly different, man. He was way more like fatherly, way more like personally invested. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was a cultural thing. It was, you know, there's, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, there's just so much value with us in putting ourselves in positions of vulnerability, okay, with people outside of our like racial and or gender groups. And I don't mean, you know, I don't mean necessarily just talking to people, like that's helpful too. But if you can find a place where you can actually have a vulnerability based relationship with somebody, it can be really eye-opening. And the more people we can do that with, the better. And there are good and bad people, but the problem is you can't, the only people that truly understand the black experience are black people, guys. There is no white person in fucking America that really understands black experience, okay? And let me give you an example, okay? Because, like, for example, all right, if you go to some neighborhoods in Los Angeles or Cincinnati or any major city, there are some neighborhoods that are predominantly black. Okay, so a white person in America can go into a predominantly black neighborhood and be the only person of their color in that neighborhood. And for a moment, they feel what it feels like to be an outsider. However, that person can walk 8 blocks in any direction and they can be among all white people. Okay? And the thing about it is anywhere they go in America, where they go and they are not the dominant race, they can walk 6 to 8 blocks and they are the dominant race again. Everywhere in America, everywhere. So they don't truly understand, even when they put themselves in a situation where they're not the dominant race, they don't really know what it's like when everywhere you go but these tiny areas, you are the non-dominant, okay? Most black people in the course of their day, every room they go into, almost all day long, if they leave, a black space, everywhere they go, they are like wildly outnumbered. And they are wildly outnumbered in a country where everybody was socialized in this like white eugenics kind of like thinking for hundreds of years that still lingers. You know what I'm saying? And so like the only people that really understand the black experience are black people. And if you're not like communing with them in some way, you're not consuming their content and allowing their experience to inform you, you are not like, you have no understanding of the black experience. Like none. If you're sitting in a town of white people talking about black history, that just ain't it. That's a start, but that ain't it. It's like that saying, like the anti-racism work says, it's no longer not enough to just not be racist. We all have to be actively anti-racist. And dude, it's hard. I mean, it's hard. I'm telling you, even in Portland, which is, there's some diversity here, but it's not like LA. Okay. There's a lot less diversity in Portland. It's a lot more segregated in Portland. I mean, I moved into a neighborhood that was mixed race, but unfortunately, what I didn't know when I bought a house is that the very fact of white people buying houses in a neighborhood in America changes the racial demographics. Okay, if there's a neighborhood of like black people and white people move into the neighborhood where black people live and buy houses, pretty soon there won't be any more black people because they will automatically get priced out. It's fucking crazy. Like our real estate system, thank you, Les, is still like totally racist in a way. It's like, yeah, Shaves, the problem with Portland isn't so much about Portland specifically. It's about Oregon. Okay. Oregon has a legacy of white supremacy because Oregon was founded where if you come to Oregon in, when it was settled, it was whites only and white people got land and people of color couldn't. So there is still a legacy here of that. Like we're still trying to overcome that. You know what I'm saying? And then it was intensified in Portland with some really bad gentrification shit that went on, where there were some neighborhoods here, the Alberta neighborhood, the Mississippi neighborhood, that were like really like deeply entrenched, long-standing neighborhoods of color. And what happened was when they like gentrified them, they specifically bought out all the black-owned businesses and right, which is really toxic. If you go into a black neighborhood and only buy the black businesses, and right, then you effectively take the black third spaces out of their neighborhood and it just chokes the neighborhood, right? And so there's very little of that left. It's like really fucking, Man, it was when I bought a house is when my heart got like broken about the state of race in America. And that's why watching Jillian Michaels do this is so frustrating, because anybody who buys a house, you know this, man. You know this. Does Mike from the Humanist Report live around Portland? No way, dude. If he does, I want to fucking go hang out with that dude, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's fucking so, you know, it's heartbreaking. Like, it is really frustrating. You know what I'm saying? So like when, you know, with me being sort of poor, okay, and had a limited resources with what I could buy, right? I had to make a choice when I bought a house. I could choose one of two things. I could move into a neighborhood that was mixed race, which is what I wanted to do anyway, because that's how I grew up in LA, where pretty much most of the neighborhoods are mixed race to some fucking degree, right? But I could move into a mixed race neighborhood, or I could move further out into the suburbs where everybody was kind of white trash and there wasn't a lot of race mixing and everyone would have been Trump voters. And there was no way in hell I was moving into that neighborhood. That would have been even cheaper. So we moved into the mixed race neighborhood, but the minute I moved into the mixed race neighborhood, the demographics of the neighborhood started changing because we moved in, we remodeled our house, then other people moved in and remodeled their houses, and then pretty soon the rents went up, and then pretty soon the people of color just started like getting moved further out into the suburbs, you know? It's like, and it's like, fuck, bro. I didn't want to do that. I didn't buy the house to force my neighbors to move, man. And it was like absolutely fucking heartbreaking, right? It was fucking heartbreaking. You know what I'm saying? And so like this is like, you know, I don't even know how we fix this, guys, but going on CNN and trying to minimize slavery is not the way we fix it. You know what I'm saying? It is the system. I know. And I mean, I think it starts with still equity. You've been denied housing with your family? Yeah, no. LJ, dude, you're not wrong. It is sketchy out there. And dude, they did this not too long ago where they did it, guys, with mortgage appraisals. Okay. They did a sting operation with mortgage appraisals where they took a house and they invited an appraiser over, and all the pictures on the wall were white people, and it was like white people art and furnishings, and the house got appraised. And then they called in another appraiser to appraise the house, but they had switched the house to black people, black family pictures, and it got appraised like 30% less. Okay, so that means if somebody's even trying to sell their fucking house, okay, the system is set up to make sure the people of color can't get as much money for their house. I mean, it's so toxic, dude. It is so fucking toxic. But this, going on CNN and trying to minimize slavery and say, oh, stop saying white people bad, that ain't gonna fix it. Okay? Fucking Goebbels, fucking bald-headed, fucking gargoyle motherfucker Stephen Miller running around being a miniature Nazi, that ain't gonna fix it. Okay? And Donald Trump sure as fuck ain't gonna fix it. When he ends up in a pine box, maybe we're getting a step closer. But Jesus, dude, yeah, it is so fucked up, boss. You know what I'm saying? You know? But dude, you know, I'm not giving up hope, man. I am not giving up hope. But dude, the way that Jillian Michaels went on this show, challenged slavery to black people, then she switched up to make her little gender chromosome point to get her transphobia in there. And then when she got called out by the host about like having an agenda, she played into the whole like, you're oppressing me. Like, wow, the nerve, dude, of like racists is just like, it's, man, the white racists, the nerve, the entitlement of them is fucking astonishing. All right, guys, we need 3 more. We got 11 minutes, 3 more for dance party. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Let's fucking get that dance party going. I'll be back. We're going to move on after this. All right, I'm going to keep fighting. I am not going to stop fighting. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not stopping fighting, boss. The fight I have yet begun to fight. All right, 11 minutes. Let's go, baby. Oh, shit. Oh, no way, dude. Dude, you guys did it. Oh, shit, bro. Dude, Pendulous. Let's go, dude. Woke Grandma. DB Golding. Hold on. I'm going to thank everybody who fucking did all this shit. Let's see who we got it. We got it from Dance Party. All right, so here's what we got. We got, right? I'm bringing it all. So Pendulous, Woke Grandma, DB Golding, Les, another Pendulous, Mr. Long Ears with the big 10 spot, baby. Oh, thank you, Long Ears. Appreciate you. Borrow Bad. Okay, Willem. Les with another one. She's getting ready to do the Gopher Shuffle. Jay's Australiana. Pendulous and Pendulous. Let's go, baby. You got the Elon punch. Dude, you support though, dude. You know what I'm saying? You're here and you're watching ads, right? So that's support, dude. Right? One more for Elon. Dude, get fucking shit on, Elon. Fuck you, boss. And Trump, too. Later, Trumpy! Oh! Let's go. All right. So, dude, I'm gonna get the song set up. We're gonna fucking dance, and then we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk a little Epstein because, dude, the Melania shit is getting crazy. Dude, the Melania, whatever, Melania, tomato. That shit is getting nuts. Adam, dude, let's go, baby. I know, dude, the Elon one is fucking priceless, dude. Dude, the Elon animation, I should make more animations. I'm good at them because I have some other ones that I don't really use. Like, I never use the Matt Walsh one, right? You know what I'm saying? That one is a relic from, you know, a previous day. I think maybe I'll like make something better that we can use, right? Melania, right? But whatevs. Dude, that shit's getting crazy, okay? Because you may or may not have noticed that she is getting, like, she is kind of going ape shit with the Trumpian thing, right? Like, the new Trump thing is the threat of the lawsuit. Like, anytime you say something bad, dude, Les, no way. No way, Les, you are crazy. Thank you. Let's go. Oh, right? Melania. Yeah, no, I think it's Melania, right? If we're getting fucking accurate. But so what I wanted to say about see, I don't want to make fun of her though for being a nude model, okay? Because I don't look down on Melania because she like did naked modeling, okay? I think that's fine, okay? I don't think there's anything bad or skeezy or problematic about doing porn or doing sexual content, okay? Now, when you're doing sex work though, and you're judging other people and you're trying to like look down your nose at everybody else like they're immoral, that I have a problem with. But sex work is fucking legitimate. And modeling naked is legitimate. It's that attitude though of nastiness that I do judge. But I'm not going to judge her simply for being a nude model. Like there's nothing wrong with being a nude model. Okay? There isn't. But yes, there is something wrong with fucking, letting your husband cheat on you all the fucking time and staying because of the money and power and then thinking you're better than everyone in the process and shitting on other sex workers and trashing other people's human rights. You know what I'm saying? Like being that hypocrite, that is a problem. But dude, I mean, she had a great body back in the day and she made money off her body. And I would not eat her lunch for that at all, right? Fucking, have at it, okay? If you've got the body for it, or if you can put yourself out there like that and make a living doing sex work, like by all means, love it, But yeah, but her judgmental shit is gnarly. But anyway, I'm going to get the song queued up, but we do have to look at, though, what she's doing is she's doing that shit that's Trump's doing now, where anytime somebody says something they don't want, they don't like, they're threatening like $1 billion lawsuit, right? Or $100 million lawsuit. And they're trying to weaponize the fact that they have the government behind them and this endless supply of resources, right? And the crypto scams and all that. And I have a real fucking problem with that, with the silencing of speech, because Melania, she's going after Hunter Biden again because he said that Epstein introduced her to Trump, which may or may not be true. We don't know. We're going to start investigating this, though. I'm going to make a lot of Melania videos. I think all YouTube content creators should make Melania Epstein videos till the end of time. Fuck them. She can't sue us all. She cannot sue us all. All right, let's get a little deja vu going, shall we? All right, here we go. Here we go. Dude, fuck her, bro. Yeah. Dude. Plus, she always says she speaks 5 languages. I want proof, dude. I want to see her speak the languages. I don't think she actually speaks 5 languages, boss. Right? I don't. I mean, unless the languages are like missionary, cowgirl, doggy style. Right? The love languages. Oh, shit. Oh, I went there. Sorry. Couldn't resist. Reverse cowgirl. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy on my adult content watching soul. Thank you. All right, you ready? Let's go, baby. It's time to dance, baby. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's go, baby! Dude, 𝗣𝗎, let's go! Dude, racists with adopted black children use them as shields? No. Yeah, no, I know, dude. Right? Let's go. Dude, that is rough, bro. Oh. Let's go, borrow bad! Dude, thank you, 𝗣𝗎. Appreciate you, brother. That sucks, man. The shields. Brutal. Borrow bad. Let's go. Oh, shit. Thank you. Dude, Elon is getting fucking jacked up, bro. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to take a moment here. We're going to enjoy a little music while I catch my breath. You're going to die with the aerobics? Dude. Yeah, so that song was Freedom. Dude, all this music is mine. That was Freedom, the song that just played. Oh, the song that I danced to was A Little Deja Vu by Stefan Karlin. That's a guy from Sweden. You can find it on Epidemic Sound, or you can just look him up. Right? He spells it like that, Stefan Karlin. Yeah, dude, Elon has sort of gone dark, right? Although he is going to fund the next election, right? Elon has, and he is. He's gonna keep funding them, right? You wanna see the body cam from Big Balls? Yeah, dude. I'm not really buying the big balls thing, guys, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, have you noticed how this shit happens, right? Like right before Trump decides to do some military shit, conveniently, the most well-known fucking Doge person gets beat up. Like, dude, all of this shit just feels like reality TV, man. Dude, it is 100%. We are being set up with a constant stream of reality TV. Dude, this is why we need to get these motherfuckers out of government, bro. You know what I'm saying? Dude, yeah. I don't know, dude. Yeah, dude, Jack, I think that 𝗣𝗎, I think he was talking about that. They were talking about that situation, right? That situation with fucking, Jillian Michaels. Now, the one thing I will say about big balls, guys, because for starters, I have been in physical traumas. I have been in physical fights, like significant ones. I've been in motorcycle accidents. The thing about the big balls situation that bothered me when I looked at that photo was there were no contusions. Okay, when you get in a fight and you have blood on you, you have contusions. You have swollen red areas. Oh yeah, you have swollen red areas on your body. Okay, you do. If you get hit in the face, your face will be swollen. It will be red, puffy, black and blue. You will have those on your body. If you get hit in the fucking, right? If you get hit in the body, you have contusions. Anywhere you get hit, okay? When you get hit in the body or in the face, anytime there's a fight, you have contusions. And the closer your skin is to the bone, like in your cheeks, the more pronounced that shit is. If you get hit in the cheek, you will have a golf ball fucking jutting out of your face. And if you look at the photos of Big Balls, he had blood on him, but he did not have a single contusion. He had his shirt off. None. There were no contusions anywhere, right? And if there's blood, that means you got hit hard enough to break the skin. So there's definitely going to be significant fucking contusions. And yeah, if you got hit by an AR-15 bullet, an assault rifle bullet, your ear would be shredded. It would be gone. So dude, yeah, there is, when I looked at that Big Balls photo, I was like, dude, homie has no contusions, right? I mean, let's look at it. Let's look at his photo, dude. Let's look at the fucking image here, bro. Find a big one here. Okay, look at this shit. Dude, I don't see any contusions, bro. None. Okay, I see blood smeared all over him. But like, is this all from his nose? All from his nose and it ran down like one pant leg, right? But like where, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the angle's a little weird, okay? Right? The angle's a little weird, but like, dude, I don't see any fucking, you know, it's a tough angle too, right? It is a tough angle, right? But like, dude, certainly he got hit in the body too, and there's no marks on his body. And the blood patterns look really weird too, like the running down, you know what I'm saying? Like, this implies he took his shirt off before the fight, right? Right? You know what I mean? Like, why is there the shirt's not soaked in blood? Like, something is fucking not right about this. You know what I'm saying? And again, it is a little bit of a weird angle, which I also found a little bit suspicious, right? But yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Right? And that's the only angle of the shot that we got. If you notice, there's no other picture. There's one fucking picture, bro. That's it. One photo. Dude. There's something about it. Like, you know what it is, guys? I've talked about this before. I've talked about how I have my sort of internal, like, you know, I have like my internal sort of, you know, instinctual, like, gut sort of thing that operates always. You know, it's like your gut instinct or whatever, where you look at things and you just, if it's incongruent, you get that little intuitional gut instinct thing. And when I looked at that picture, there was just something that wasn't right with it. You know what I'm saying? I looked at it and I was like, dude, this just isn't, there's something about this that is incongruent, right? And it's because I can't see the scenario of how he ended up there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So that is fucking complicated. You know, there's something about that picture was just not right, right? Something about it. It's like looking at a photograph where the light is coming from two different directions, and you're like, yeah, something's wrong with this photo, right? The light's coming through the window, but there's no light over here, but the person's being hit on their face. You look at it, you get that weird feeling, right? Like poorly made films will do that, okay? You know what I mean? And I was getting that from that photo too. And the fact that there's only one photo, that's weird as well, right? You know? Yeah, dude, everything about that was weird. But all right, so moving on though. Next up, we are now going to move to Melania, okay? Because we're going to take a look at her, okay? We're going to take a look at Melania and some of this fucking situation here, okay? Because you may or may not have heard, all right? We have a number of things. I have a number of things set up here. Okay, hold on. Let me get this stuff ready. Give me a minute here to get my video stuff ready. Because I do have several videos downloaded, okay? I have... All right, perfect. Okay. So the first thing we want to look at is, let me see this. All right, so let me see here.
Mr. Liar and fraud.
So what we're going to do here is I'm going to keep the fucking sound off because I don't know. We're just going to read it. Okay. There's some congressional shit at the end. Okay. But what we want to look at is the crux of this Melania situation is around Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. Now, if we look at Melania and Trump and Epstein, we obviously have them together, right? This is the most famous photograph here, which is at one of these events, right? Where you have a very loaded Melania, all right, with Trump and Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. This is like, there are several photos from this event, okay? Now, also, we have this photo, right? There's that one. Hold on one sec here. The other photo we have from Melania is this one, okay? Which is a very fucking important one as well. Dude, let's go, V-Sneed. Dude, thank you, boss. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So the other one, this is also the same event. This is Melania before she got totally fucking hammered, okay? Before she was completely hammed. But then there is this photo. Where is it? Where it is, okay? Here's one with Michael Bolton, Mar-a-Lago. There's fucking Ghislaine. But this photo is of a particular interest, okay? Is this photo right here. And why is this photo so interesting? Because this is Prince Andrew, this is Jeffrey Epstein, this is Melania, and this is Gwendolyn Beck. Okay, now Gwendolyn Beck is a very interesting story because she was named by several Epstein victims as being involved in orgies, in sexual fucking, whatever, eyes wide shut kind of shit. And you ready for this, guys? You know who she dated? Dude, she was Bob Menendez's fucking girlfriend. Bob Menendez, the Democrat from fucking Jersey, okay, who went down for corruption, okay, who most certainly had ties to the mob. Now, again, guys, this is bipartisan here. Okay, yeah, Jersey Bob. This is bipartisan, guys, because Menendez is a Democrat, and he's a dirty-ass Democrat. But Donald Trump was a Democrat back when this was going on. Okay, Bill Clinton was a Democrat. Okay, they're not just Republicans and Democrats. You know what I mean? It's not just Republicans that are corrupt. Okay, it's sketchy Democrats too. Now, we don't care what party they're from, but this, okay, disgraced New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez ex-girlfriend allegedly participated in orgies with Jeffrey Epstein and underage girls, court documents claim. Now, this is Gwendolyn Beck, Bob, fucking New Jersey Bob's ex-girlfriend, hanging out with Prince Andrew, Melania, and Epstein. These are the orgy people with the underage girls. Okay? Okay? You know what I'm saying? They are all a part of this shit. And now Melania, she doesn't want this stuff coming out, dude. She's trying to clamp down on people who talk about this. Okay? So Gwendolyn Beck dated Menendez in 2010. Okay? So she dated Menendez after Epstein got busted. And she was singled out by Virginia Giuffre in a 2016 deposition, a transcript of which was finally released to the public on Tuesday. As part of the deposition, Giuffre was provided with a list of names and was asked which ones she was not trafficked to as a teenager. Number 7, Gwendolyn Beck, she replies, according to the transcript. I wasn't trafficked to her. She was just part of some of the trafficking. An attorney asked Giuffre what Beck's involvement was, to which Giuffre replied, she was involved in some of the orgies. The attorney then asked 𝗙ģephre what gentlemen were involved in the orgies with you and Miss Beck. As far as I can recall, Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, it is unclear when the orgies occurred, but by the time Beck was linked to Menendez in 2010, 𝗙ģephre was married and living in Australia. Beck did not reply to a request for comment. Her relationship with Epstein has been well documented, though this is the first time she was accused of any wrongdoing. Beck was previously photographed with Epstein and his madam at former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in 1995. And that is this picture. Right here. Okay. That is this photograph. All right. Right. This photograph right here, which is, it is Deborah Blum, Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Gwendolyn Beck. Okay. And look at Epstein, dude. What is going on with him, bro? Right? What is, dude, what is Epstein's major malfunction, dude? He was just like a joy boy, right? What is he doing, dude? Right? But so this is Mar-a-Lago, 1995. Okay. This is Mar-a-Lago, 95. Dude, isn't that crazy? So she is deeply entrenched in this. And there are other photos with her. Okay. There's Epstein and Ghislaine, right? Again, Ghislaine was, right? Ghislaine was the fucking, she was definitely like one of the ringleaders of this thing. Hold on. I'm going to save that article. Right. I feel like I need to fucking, sorry. I need to save this story. Oh shit. Hold on one sec. Let me log in real quick to fucking VF. All right. Let me just go. Actually, I'll just put it up here. I'll do that later. All right. I can do it from up there. I got to log into my Vanity Fair real quick so I can save that story. All right. All right. All right. Dude, now I don't see the fucking saving part. Now it's not giving me the fucking link to save it. What the fuck, bro? The little tag to save it has been removed. Oh, weird. All right. Well, I'll just leave it up there. All right. We'll fucking sort it later. But so this obviously the Melania connection here is significant to say the least. Okay. There is some connection, right? Some deep connection with her and Gwendolyn Beck and all of these, like, you know, Epstein sort of people in the inner circle of Epstein. Okay. So she was also pictured 5 years later back at the Florida estate with Epstein, Prince Andrew, and then Trump's girlfriend, Melania 𝗫𝗫. Okay. This was before they were married, right? Yes. Acolytes. I was going to say that the sort of Epstein's fucking, the people that are in his orbit was the word I was looking for. Okay. Her 2014 campaign for Congress was even bolstered by a $12,000 donation from Epstein. Okay, his only political contribution that year. So Gwendolyn Beck ran for Congress and Epstein donated to her thing. This was in 2014. So this was a full 7 years after that non-prosecution agreement, after he was arrested. Okay, and they were like, we don't know now. We have not confirmed whether the orgies happened in 2000 or whether the orgies continued happening. I mean, as far as we understand from the victims, if you look at the victims, what happened is after Epstein got off in Florida, he went right back to being Epstein. He went right back to trafficking girls. It was just after that, he predominantly did it out on the island. Okay. I think he moved it. He moved most of it to the island to escape culpability and to be well outside the eyes of the law and the media and everything else, where he had a lot more control over who was there. And there was no chance of like any talking going on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, dude, the work release, dude, I haven't even looked into that yet. Okay, Beck said at the time she asked a number of billionaires for donations and accepted one from Epstein out of forgiveness following his conviction for having sex with minors and subsequent jail time in Florida. So, like, okay, he went to jail and he was having sex with minors, so you took a donation from him to forgive him? Like, what? What? She said, I haven't spoken with him personally in years. During my years at Morgan Stanley, I managed a portion of his investment funds and knew him personally. While the press has tagged him as a man of mystery because they can't explain how he made his money, it's mostly a combination of real estate and complex derivatives, Beck noted. At the time, he had a girlfriend he was very close to. That was Ghislaine Maxwell, and was a hardworking, thoughtful man. He comes from a poor background and made a lot of money real fast. I think he went off the deep end when she left. Okay, that's Ghislaine, right? And got involved in very bad behaviors, which he sought therapy for and paid his time in jail. But again, I don't think he really did a lot of therapy. Okay, I think I'm not fully versed on the dates, but I know for a fact that he was active on the island with women sexually after he was arrested and got that plea deal. Okay. But there's Gwendolyn Beck with, again, Melania and Prince Andrew. Okay. Beck said she was deeply opposed to and shocked by his behavior, but that he paid his debt to society. And she said, although humanly flawed, he can be a great asset to our nation because he understands finance on a level most people can't comprehend. So look at that, though. He's humanly flawed, right? Although he's humanly flawed by, repeatedly raping, right? Graping and sexually abusing teenage girls, he just understands finance on a really special level. He's going to be good for the country. Dude, these people are fucking mental, okay? Can I just tell you? All right. So it says what they do know is on Wednesday, documents were released naming 170 associates of Epstein, including Michael Jackson, David Copperfield, Stephen Hawking, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, Bill Clinton, okay, who an Epstein victim said likes them young, referring to girls. It was Prince Andrew named in the documents and was sued by Virginia Giuffre. All right. And he denied that. Epstein's former attorney and friend Alan Dershowitz has defended his estate. Okay. And Mark Epstein told the Post, his ex-business mogul, said Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, told the Post that the ex-business mogul said he could have upended the 2016 election over what he knew about both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. You hear that? Epstein said, if I said what I know about both candidates, they'd have to cancel the election. That's what Jeffrey Epstein told his brother. Okay. if I said what I know about both Bill and Trump, they would cancel the fucking election. And guys, I feel like it's probably pretty accurate. Okay. So, but Gwendolyn Beck, though, who ran on a platform of being fiscally responsible, socially inclusive, and in favor of a strong national defense, wound up losing the Virginia race after securing only 2.7% of the vote. Okay. She had earlier worked as the vice president of investments at Morgan Stanley. In May 2010, she began dating Menendez. The banker was photographed with him in the DR in 2010. Okay, a photo that would later be used in his corruption trial. She attended a White House state dinner as his date, and it's unclear if Menendez knew of Beck's relationship with Epstein. But again, dude, you have Menendez and the mob and Trump and fucking, Trump was a Democratic mob-related guy running a casino, the Taj Mahal. Okay, you have Epstein, you have all these people connected to the mob. I mean, come on, man. They're all in cahoots. Menendez was accused at the time of accepting lavish hospitality from a Medicare fraudster doctor who asked Menendez to secure visas for a bevy of young mistresses. So look at that, guys. Okay, a Medicare fraudster, and he was securing visas for young mistresses. So, dude, these guys have all been engaged in trafficking. Melania, right? Melania probably got trafficked, okay, along with all these other Eastern European models that Trump was trafficking with Trump models. John Casablancas was doing it with elite models. Of course, Jean-Luc Brunel was doing it with Karen models. Menendez denied the charges and called them a conspiracy, okay, right? But now he's facing charges of taking gold bars, right? So from the Egyptian government. So that's interesting that Menendez was dating Gwendolyn Beck, the associate of Jeffrey Epstein, while simultaneously was being investigated for helping secure visas for young mistresses, women that were getting trafficked. Bro, dude, this shit is crazy. It is like the modeling industry. Okay, this article is 2024, January of 2024. So it's a year and a half old. It's a recent one. This was, remember, in early 2024, there was a big a document dump about Epstein. But again, though, guys, when we look at it, Epstein, Prince Andrew, Gwendolyn Beck, Melania, Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump, okay, some of these other politicians, Bob Menendez, this shit runs deep, guys. These all of them in the modeling / trafficking industry, and then the Epstein / trafficking, the reality is the higher level trafficking was most certainly happening from people of Donald Trump's circle more so than Epstein. Okay, Epstein almost seemed to revere, he opened a modeling agency trying to emulate Donald Trump, right? So yeah, dude, this shit is fucking crazy. And now what has been going on is Melania threatening to sue Hunter Biden over some comments he made linking her to Jeffrey Epstein. And specifically what Hunter Biden said that Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. And so that is at the crux of this, okay? You know what I'm saying? There is, I believe the Daily Beast did an article about this, and Melania immediately sicked her lawyers. And in fact, that Daily Beast article, they pulled it down, okay? Because now she has so much money, okay? Trump has already cashed in $3 billion from crypto scams getting into office. He is pilfering money out of the office, being in office. You know what I'm saying? Just sucking money out from foreign governments, from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar. I'm certain there's money coming in with these third-party prison deals that he's doing. His kids have literally said, like, man, we can't help but make money. Let's look at a clip right now, real quick, of the Trump kid. He went on today. I believe it was Don Jr., right? And Eric, you ready? Here we go. Let's watch this clip. Here, watch this clip. This is fucking disturbing. This is today or recently. Trump's son gets defensive, says he had no choice but to profit off the presidency. Okay? Trump brothers and Zach Witkoff. Now, Witkoff is the Middle East envoy who's been hooking up business deals with all these Middle East countries. But here we go.
I want to bring you to this, and all of you. Critics are saying, hey, well, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. The New Yorker, for example, says the number. How much is Trump pocketing off the presidency? Axios. President Trump and his family stand to net $3.4 billion by the end of the second term.
Jesus.
David Kirkpatrick reports for the New Yorker in a piece today the number of why it matters. No U.S. president has monetized the highest off in the land quite like this. Eric, your answer to those headlines.
Brian, it's infuriating. We had nowhere to go. Capital One stripped 300 bank accounts from me, 300 in the middle of the night. They sent us a letter after doing business for 20-something years. All your bank accounts for golf courses and condominium buildings and hotels, they're all gone in the middle of the night. I mean, how do you pay your taxes? How do you pay your employees? This happened across the board. It happened with J.P. Morgan Chase. It happened with...
You see what they're again, though, they're trying to say we were debanked, so therefore we had to be corrupt, right? Oh, we were debanked, but yeah, why were you debanked? Because you're a fucking criminal enterprise. Thank you, right? When you commit crimes, they fucking freeze your assets, you fucking clown.
With Bank of America, it happened with First Republic. And this wasn't just happening to the Trumps, people with a lot of zeros on the end. This was happening to conservatives all over the country. We didn't have a damn choice.
I don't notice them talking about the hundreds of millions of dollars we had to spend fighting lawfare. That doesn't matter, right? That was all nonsense, right? Russia, you name it. Impeachment 1, hoax 2, 3, 4, 5, infinity. No one talks about that.
Dude, these guys, though, have, like, negative charisma. Can I just say?
They weaponized the entire full force of the United States government against our family. And unlike all...
Because you guys were crooks. Because you committed an insurrection, sent false electors to disrupt an election that you lost, okay? And your dad, like, was cheating on, you know, filing fake business records and shit to cover up shit. And don't even get us started about Russia and all your meetings and contact with the Russian oligarchs and the money laundering with the property down in Palm Beach. Like, come on, baby.
The other people who'd served as the presidency before, basically since our founding fathers, Trump was the only guy that was actually a businessman before that. Are we supposed to stop running our businesses? Are we supposed to stop doing anything?
Yes. Jimmy Carter was a businessman. He had a very successful peanut farm, and he divested completely. That's what you do. Yes, you all divest. It's real fucking simple. Or don't be president if you don't want to divest. I know, dude, they're a crime family. When you look at him, dude, Don Jr. just looks like a mobster, doesn't he? He looks like one of the clowns who's going to get whacked, right? Because he can't keep his mouth shut. But doesn't he look like the cheesiest, like, B-movie Goodfellas? Dude, like, the fucking 𝗙់𝗾𝗋, right? They made a B-movie version, 𝗙់𝗾𝗋, and he's fucking Don Gerardo. Dude, oh my God, dude, the worst fucking hair ever.
He's not involved in these things.
Yeah. So anyway, so these guys are, like, super crooked, okay? So she's flush with cash. So now what she's doing is she's trying to threaten, okay? Melania is basically threatening anyone who starts pointing out her connections to Jeffrey Epstein, okay? First Lady Melania Trump recently put Hunter Biden on notice, threatening to sue him for over $1 billion for suggesting she was introduced to President Trump by Jeffrey Epstein. Now, here's what's ridiculous about this, guys, is there's no way she could win a lawsuit against him saying she was introduced by Jeffrey Epstein. She has suffered no reputational harm. She hasn't lost any money. She hasn't lost a job. She hasn't lost any contracts, right? I mean, simply saying that, there's no fucking way, like, you know, if you can prove it didn't happen, then fucking prove it. But otherwise, dude, like somebody trying to surmise how people met, like, this is ridiculous. But the fact that there's this threat of $1 billion lawsuit and everyone's pushed, like all the right wingers, you know, Benny Johnson and all these other stool pushers, right, are fucking, you know what I mean? All those other, like, you know, hand jivers, right? Those guys giving the double tug to fucking, you know, the MAGA base, they are all like freaking out about this and posting that, yes, she's clamping down on Hunter Biden, right? And she's being best. She is. Be best, right? Melania's attorney demanded Hunter immediately retract the false, defamatory, disparaging, and inflammatory statements he made about the First Lady in an interview earlier this month. Okay, failure to comply will leave Mrs. Trump with no choice but to pursue any and all legal remedies. Now, dude, I want to see Hunter go toe to toe here. Okay, he said he claimed Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. The connections are like so wide and deep, the former president's son continued, referring to allegations put forward by author Michael Wolff, who is described as a serial fabulist. Okay, now you'll notice they're not threatening to sue Michael Wolff. Okay, right? You know what I'm saying? You notice that Michael Wolff, we're going to look at him talking about this, and they're not threatening Michael Wolff. They're just threatening Hunter Biden. Okay. And then he further expressed Melania's demands that Hunter immediately issue a full and fair retraction. If you do not comply by August 7th, she's going to enforce her legal and equitable rights. But dude, that's already come and gone. So he did not retract this, right? James Carville publicly apologized, suggesting an Epstein connection. I mean, dude, there's definitely an Epstein connection. That's obvious. So let's see.
I want to bring you to this, and all of you.
I'm kind of like at a loss here trying to figure out what's up with this date. Like, when was this story printed? Okay, yeah, dude. This is August 13th, and it says August 7th. Okay, and clearly, like, nobody complied. So I don't know if they just printed it or what, right? I don't know if they printed it or what they did. Okay, but if it was a misprint, because this is literally coming out today and he has not retracted anything. And so, but again, though, this shit right here is like, we need to clamp down on this stuff. Okay, we do. We need to clamp down on this stuff, because this idea that anytime somebody in the media or anytime somebody in the entertainment world talks about Donald Trump or talks about Melania Trump, they are threatening you with like $1 billion lawsuit that you must. Yeah, Carville. Dude, fuck Carville, dude. That guy's a clown, though. He's gutless. Now, what I think, guys, is I think all of us YouTubers and political YouTubers, we need to investigate this. Like, I am going to start a deep dive into the Melania investigation. I mean, obviously, she was in the circle. She was in the inner circle enough to have photographs and be real chummy with these guys that were involved in these sex parties. We don't know what her involvement was beyond that, but we're going to research it. We're going to make a lot of videos about this. And Melania and her lawyers and Donald Trump, they can suck a fuck, okay? Because they can't sue us all, okay? They can't sue us all. And that's absolutely true. But I feel like this is some spectacle to still be attacking like Joe Biden's legacy, okay? You know what I mean? It's fucking nonsensical. But there's the goods, okay? She's definitely chummy with these guys, right? And I don't know how much she's mentioned in there, but She's in there, bro. She is in there. She is in there. All right. But so yes, I believe it occurred in this podcast. This is Hunter Biden. Let's see if we got what we got here. What we've got on this thing about Epstein. All right. All right, here we go.
Was necessarily a pedophile.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he had the Dalai Lama at his house. Girls.
Let's go back here. We're going to see what we got here on Epstein.
In history.
John Wayne Gacy.
No, pedophile, and over 248 victims, I think over 250 victims, and his name was, oh God, I forget his name, the doctor. He was a pediatrician, and he filmed it all. And he would take pre-verbal children that were his patients into a room by themselves, and he filmed him sexually abusing them.
Firing squad.
Over years and years and years.
Dude, you know what's really interesting? Every time I see Hunter Biden speak, I hate to say this, he reminds me a little of me, okay? Because you can tell that he has lived a hard life grappling with like drug addiction and grappling with demons and having a very painful life. You know, his dad was not around a lot, okay, because Joe Biden was out there being a government official. I grew up with a dad who was gone a lot. I grew up in a very like high trauma family that had a lot of addiction in it. And he seems very tuned in. You know what I'm saying? And I know people attack him for his struggles with addiction and shit like that. But when I see him, I relate to him a lot. I understand where he comes from. You know what I'm saying? Of like having dealt with a life of a lot of pain and a lot of trauma and you know, overcoming addiction. It is fucking hard. You know what I'm saying? It is. And I really like him.
And my point about it is this. He had a whole office. He was an incredibly well-respected doctor in Southern Delaware. He was the chair of one of the hospital's pediatric divisions.
Now, he's obviously talking about another child abuser. And again, it is always like that, okay? It is. It like these guys, these serial rapists and these serial abusers are usually pillars of the community. They are usually well-respected, well-loved. Sociopaths are great at emulating like real emotional states of being. So people actually think they're like more evolved than everyone because sociopaths are so good at faking it that they fool everybody. They're great at mirroring people back to them. They're just so good at it.
He had a practice.
And I believe this is going to lead us into the Epstein
over
talk.
the course of decades had seen.
I'm going to just jump forward here.
Were pre-verbal. So the only thing was the from others had been getting, and it was the same thing with Jeffrey Epstein. Is I think the only thing that really to take away from this is that men are fucking pigs, and the fact of the matter is that pedophilia is much more pervasive than you would think.
Dude, so huge that he said that pedophilia is more pervasive. Let me just tell you guys. Okay, I was sexually abused as a kid by two older half-brothers. It happened in 1st and 2nd grade in a town, Elkhorn, Wisconsin, a town of 3,000 people at the time. Elkhorn, right now, if you go there, there is a hotel in the downtown where like sex offenders who get out of jail are sort of reinserted into society in Elkhorn. This tiny little town is like a hub for sex offenders to fucking get like to put them back into communities. It is so pervasive in the Midwest. You go to these rural white bread towns in the Midwest, these small towns all over middle America. I am literally telling you guys, I bet 60% of middle American families are dealing with some type of sexual abuse. It is so rampant. Nobody talks about it. Everybody pretends like it doesn't happen. The kids usually go mum with it and they don't remember it until, you know, decades later, right? It is one of the most pervasive and rampant abuse problems, okay, that is out there. And Natalie, yeah, put a link to that. And we're not going to get to it tonight, but we will investigate that. It is so rampant. It is so massively rampant. It is like literally one of the biggest fucking problems that we have, you know, and I don't know, like, because we never talk about it and because we don't admit how pervasive it is, we're not really making any headway on solving the problem, because it is something that is a little bit, it's like genetic, but it's also learned behavior. Okay, you get sexually abused as a kid and you internalize the shame and you block it out, and then you engage in some other sort of addictive behavior, either with sex or drugs or alcohol, and then you set up a perfect storm of like lowered inhibitions and shame that then you offend. If you don't break the chain and get sober and get therapy and heal, eventually many of the people who get sexually abused then abuse. They just do it, and it's like a normal sort of shame response. And so it's fucking so devious like that. And the thing that's really complicated about it is it's not a crime of evilness, okay? Like the half brothers who molested me, they weren't trying to hurt me. They really fucking loved me. And in fact, outside of the abuse, my relationships with them were like help me survive my narcissistic parents. So like without being molested by those two brothers, half brothers, I may well have turned out worse. Like my other half siblings who didn't get molested by these guys, they turned out worse than me because they didn't get the actual love and connected bond that I got, because they actually fucking loved me and cared about me. But there was also this devious fucking like trauma side to it as well. So yeah, it is complicated and it is fucked up.
It is, right? And I think people's willingness to believe it is because of their own experience in life. And I wish that was the discussion that people were having about protecting children, because most of Jeffrey Epstein's victims were not like, 18, 19, 24-year-old models that came over to work for 𝗙𝗍𝗶𝗋𝗍 and elite models and got themselves into bad situation on his island. Most of them were like 14, 15-year-old girls from West Palm Beach that he would manipulate into coming over to his house. But I'm not talking like one or two. I'm talking, there were hundreds, and everybody knew. And he had a full staff of people, and he had friends that were there, and he had, and I'm not saying that means that everybody that was in the presence of Jeffrey Epstein or was at one of his salons was necessarily a pedophile.
For sure.
I mean, he had the Dalai Lama at his house at one point. That does not mean that I don't have the complete reverence for the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
But that's how he would sucker people in. Is that you would have these powerful people and you would see kind of like this other thing going on. And you could think they must like have been like, suspension of disbelief. I mean, like I don't know. But in retrospect, everybody's like, oh yeah, like that was weird. And I think that's
just look at that photo, guys, right? Like, hold on, let's watch this.
The complete reverence for the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
But that's how he would sucker people in. Is that you would have these powerful people and
it's intoxicating, first off, right? The way they like are able to abuse these girls, because think about this, guys. Think about like the woman we talked about the other day, 𝗙𝗍𝗹𝗪 Davies, okay? She was like 20 years old, okay? She knew Epstein from before she was 18. But so she was a girl from a poor family in West Palm Beach, not a lot of money, not a lot of prospects. And she ended up on a private jet hanging out with Kevin Spacey and Bill Clinton. You know how fucking intoxicating that is for a poor, like, young girl who wants to be a model, wants to be an actress, wants to be famous, wants a way out of the trailer park, and all of a sudden they meet Jeffrey Epstein and they're hanging out with literal dignitaries. It is like so intoxicating. And it comes with this pressure of they also can't say no. There's like such a severe power dynamic that it becomes this like, they're like, of course they don't want to like leave that, because who would? You'd be crazy to be hanging out with the former president and be like, fuck you, I'm not going to hang out with you. Like, no, these people can make your fucking life. You know what I mean? But then if they put their hand up your skirt, you also can't say no, right? And that's the thing that they feed on, guys. These guys feed on this. Donald Trump said it. He said it himself. I move on him like a bitch. I don't even ask. I grab him by the pussy. I can do whatever I want. And when you're a star, they let you do it. Okay? And yes, they're always good at finding the vulnerable girls. Like the abusers, they have a radar. They have antennae that like help them figure out who the vulnerable ones are.
You would see kind of like this other thing going on. You could think,
there's 𝗙𝗪𝗪𝗡. This is the girl that I was talking about, 𝗙𝗪𝗪𝗡. I'm going to do a whole video on her, okay? Because her story is like pretty crazy.
They must like have been like, you know, suspension of disbelief. I mean, like I don't know. But in retrospect, everybody's like, oh yeah.
But look at this photo. Look at this photo of his victims. Just take this in, right? And think about this, guys. A 55-year-old man having this girl fucking like naked or in her bra panties, like giving him a fucking massage, dude. That's fucked up, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like these girls, there's Virginia Giuffre. These girls are like scarred for life. They're fucking sorting this shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like that is so predatory. Like it is like deeply predatorial. And now, regardless of where Melania Trump fits in with this shit and her threatening her $1 billion lawsuits, she was in this circle, okay, with a lot of people that were engaged in this behavior. In the modeling industry, the people who ran modeling agencies were doing this shit too. It was not just Jeffrey Epstein, okay? The modeling, like Melania most certainly, I think she was with elite models. John Casablancas most certainly witnessed this behavior. Okay, she saw it. She said nothing for whatever reason. Okay, she is culpable for sure.
Like that was weird, and I think that that's what's going on here. And I think that what probably exists is a lot of the victims recounting that they were there when he was there.
So you're not as concerned about the conversation over whether it was a pedophile destination or if it was some kind of like intelligence honeypot. You're more focused on the broader conversation about pedophilia and the pervasiveness of pedophilia among the power.
No, I wish everybody would be more concentrated on that. But the fact of the matter is nobody is. So like, it's like, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter. That thread has completely been lost. So now there is a real question, and he's making it, and in any other political situation, it would be, you know, like it would be over. Yeah. It would be over for this person. He's directed his attorney general, because his attorney general, by his own account, doesn't do anything without his direction, okay? He directs the FBI, because his FBI director, by anyone's account, does not do anything without his direction.
Absolutely.
Nobody. Not one of his cabinet members, none of it happens inside cabinet and staff. There's no separation whatsoever between the Oval Office and the entire administration.
None.
In terms of its leadership. And that doesn't mean that he's fully aware of every decision that is obviously being made, like, you know.
He's not. He's not fully aware of everything that's being made, but at any given time, he's going in there and saying, we need this done, and it will become a priority. Okay, and they also know all the people he doesn't like and the people he wants to attack. And they know his general fucking tenor of where he wants their aim to be pointing.
Pete Hague says stopping aid to Ukraine without telling him, but that's just because people are, that he's chosen a bunch of morons.
So you're saying he made the choice to shut it down?
Yeah.
And do you think he made that choice because he was on the list, or because someone higher than him was pressuring him or perhaps blackmailing him into keeping it suppressed?
Oh, no. I think it's because I don't think that there's probably an actual list, like a black book. Like the woman who I think is the smartest on this is the reporter that originally broke the story in Palm Beach.
That's
the
Julie
Miami
Brown.
Herald. I forget her name. But I heard her speaking, and she said, look, we've all known.
I'm trying to track down Julie Brown's book. I actually have reached out to a friend of mine who is a bookseller because you can't find her book. Julie Brown was the Miami Herald reporter who started this. Because again, guys, I said this in a video I made today. This had died. The Jeffrey Epstein, after the non-prosecution agreement, it just disappeared. Nobody talked about this until after Me Too. After Me Too, and after Weinstein went down, and after women became empowered and emboldened and started coming forward, Julie K. Brown of the Miami Herald did a bunch of exposés about this and wrote a book, and she brought this back into the limelight. And because Me Too had just happened, it spread like wildfire. And so literally, if it wasn't for Julie K. Brown, all of this would have been fucking buried, man. And he would probably still be molesting girls. So the thing about this is you have people like Charlie Kirk talking about toxic femininity and all that. Such bullshit, man. Me Too literally is what shut this down, is because of that movement. Like, these movements have huge impactful fucking, impactful situations on our society, right? Yeah, I'm trying to find the hardcover version, right? You can buy the audiobook, but I don't want the audiobook. I want the actual tactile book.
For a long time that there is no list. But by the way, think about this too. How many different investigators have there been on this? You had the Palm Beach Police, you had the State's Attorney's Office in Florida, you had the FBI and multiple different offices and had headquarters. You had the Southern District of New York. You have the U.S. Attorney in Palm Beach. And each one of those, there were grand juries impaneled. There's grand jury information. There's an enormous amount of evidence that was collected, and that all exists. Okay. And every one of those people from all the leaks, and I can tell you from my own experience, having had to go through all that shit, is none of it stays confidential. It always leaks. And if there was a list and actual names, like, John Smith, blah, 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 check mark. You know what I mean? Like 6 times in, at the island or whatever. I don't think he did that. I think what he did is that.
Hold on one sec here. Yeah, everywhere I tried to order it, it was out of stock, right? Dude, it literally was, right? Oh, shit. Crazy, dude. Now there's one actually that says it's orderable. That's crazy, dude. A week ago, it was not like that. Everywhere I went, they were all out of stock. Oh, shit, bro. Let's fucking go. All right. Dude, that's crazy. Because, dude, I could not find it. Dude, I tried ordering it a week ago, and it was not available on Amazon. It was not available on fucking Google. It was nowhere. Dude, they re-upped, baby! Yeah, dude, I'm going to order it tonight, boss. Let's go. I would order it right now, but I don't want to take a chance here. All right, hold on. Let's go back. I want to go back a minute. Dude, let's go, baby.
I think it's because I don't think that there's probably an actual list, like a black book. Like the woman who I think is the smartest on this is the reporter that originally broke the story in Palm Beach.
See, again, too, if you look at this, I don't think there was a specific black book either. Okay. I think it was very layered, but I think there's a network of people who know. Okay. They all know. And I mean, a lot of them are those people in the immunity agreement. And what's crazy, what I found out, guys, is the immunity agreement from 2007, the one with Leslie Groff, Sarah Kellen, Adriana Ross, and Nadia Marcinkova included in immunity with Epstein and any and all co-defendants. So they broke that to prosecute Ghislaine Maxwell. They broke that. And they broke that like they could have prosecuted the 4 women on that list too, but they chose not to. Okay. The non-prosecution agreement was not the reason. Once they did it in New York City, that only covered down in Florida. Okay. Once they moved the venue to New York, they could have fucking prosecuted all 4 of those women, but they chose not to. They chose not to.
The Miami Herald, I forget her name, but I heard her speaking, and she said, look, we've all known for a long time that there is no list. But by the way, think about this too. How many different investigators have there been on this? You had the Palm Beach Police, you had the State's Attorney's Office in Florida, you had the FBI in multiple different offices and had headquarters. You had the Southern District of New York. You have the U.S. Attorney in Palm Beach. And each one of those, there were grand juries impaneled. There's grand jury information. There's an enormous amount of evidence that was collected, and that all exists. Okay, and
there was Paris. Right? There were all those pictures that the butler said of Virginia Giuffre and Prince Andrew all over the Paris apartment. The Paris police went in there, took everything, boom, bap, gone. You know what I'm saying?
Every one of those people from all the leaks, and I can tell you from my own experience, having had to go through all that shit, is none of it stays confidential. It always leaks. And if there was a list and actual names, like, John Smith, blah, 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 check mark. You know what I mean? Like 6 times in, at the island or whatever. I don't think he did that. I think what he did.
I mean, I know exactly what he did. He did what all traffickers did, where he had cells, okay? He had groups of people that were small groups of people that were interconnected with other different groups of people. And some cells didn't even know the people in the other cells existed. Okay, that way it was separated. If somebody flapped their gums, it would be very easy to clamp down upon. This is the way terrorist cells operate. It's the way mafia-like organizations operate, where you keep these small little crews that sometimes don't even know the other people. And then the other thing he did most certainly is he took a whole bunch of business people to that island that never did anything sexually, that never even saw any girls, okay? Because that way, you see the names that went to the island, you don't know who's who, okay? It's like anything. You have to disguise it, okay? Everybody who went to that island did not engage in sex with underage girls. In fact, I would bet most of the people who went to the island didn't. You know what I'm saying? Right? It's like a constant cover. And you're right. Contractors do it. Like, I think any type of he obviously was, when you're dealing with really powerful people, okay, you have to be extraordinarily fucking cognizant of protecting people's, they're protecting people's privacy. I mean, look at Heidi Fleiss. Okay. Look at how long Heidi Fleiss operated with nobody knowing what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Dude, I mean, discretion can be bought. Okay. It absolutely can be bought. Right. And I mean, guys, when you think about this, I hate to say this because I hate to just blame it on capitalism, but a lot of this is capitalism, okay? Because in any business, in any capitalist endeavor, the people up at the top, they know a bunch of shit about a bunch of people, and they maintain their position in those top levels by their silence. Okay? When you get bumped up to upper management, you get bumped up to upper management because you keep your mouth shut. Okay? Those are the people that move up in the political realms, are the people that see it and don't say it. Okay? And the people who keep their mouth shut keep going up the escalator. And the people who flap their gums, they don't get up there. Okay? That is literally like how it works. You know, it's how it works, man. It is fucking, it's how this shit works.
Is that there is a body of information in a wide-ranging investigation in which his name appears probably as much or more than anybody else.
Oh,
because
Trump's?
they were together.
Yeah.
By their own words.
I'd be willing to bet that Trump's name was the most populous name in those files. I bet Trump's name was literally one of the most mentioned names in that entire investigation. I mean, if you go all the way back to Maria Farmer, who reported Epstein to the FBI in 1996, okay, right? She reported Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, right? 96. In the very early stages of this, she reported Trump to the FBI. So from the very beginning, he was like, and she didn't even know Donald Trump. She just like, she didn't work for him. She only saw him a couple times. But what she knew about him and Epstein and what she knew from the inside, she knew he was involved. Right? It was like they were not shy about this.
I'm not even making it up. I feel like I don't want to
Well, Trump says they used to hang a lot, but then he figured out that, he was into underage people and he was like, I got to stop hanging out with this guy.
No. He never says that that's the reason that he stopped hanging out with him.
He said it one time. He was like, Jeffrey, we were cool, but I don't know about him now.
After he was convicted of solicitation.
After he became
then he said that.
Registered sex offender. Trump was like, all right, man, that's enough. I'm just giving you the Trump defense, devil's advocate, because
but then Trump changed that though and said now it was because he was stealing workers. Virginia Giuffre left in 2000, and he was a paid Mar-a-Lago member until 2007.
That's what he's gonna say.
Yeah. And I like boy. Like, wow. Like, once you got convicted, which, by the way, oh, yes, you're right. That's it. He does say that. Is when that happened, when 𝗙𝗪ce came up with a non-prosecution agreement and gave every single person, named or unnamed, in the indictment immunity.
Yeah.
Everybody. And then Trump became president and named 𝗙𝗪ce the Secretary of Labor. Yeah. Out of the blue, as if he had any qualification.
Did Trump ever suggest back in the heyday of 2020 that you had a connection to Jeffrey Epstein of some kind?
I don't think so.
You never got wrapped up?
No.
Just loose associations in the mind of Trump
Don't
supporters.
start it either. My God, I got enough goddamn problems. It's like, no one yet, and now.
I figured they'd somehow
there you go.
tie you to it.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, do you think it was like a suicide? Epstein?
No. Nobody does.
Yeah, I don't think it was a self-unaliving. Not at all. Right? I mean it's like I could see like, how somebody who was going to be in jail for life, like they might want to. I could see how somebody in Epstein's position could have those, the ideation, right? But like, dude, did he? I mean, dude, I just don't think so, man. I think there's a lot of unexplained death around this shit. And all these guys got sort of whacked in a row, man.
I mean, really, except for all of a sudden, 𝗙ście Patel and Dan Bongino. Nobody thinks it was. Yeah. Is that you have that renowned doctor, a coroner, that did the, what's it called?
Postmortem autopsy.
Yeah, the postmortem autopsy.
I don't know if that's what it's called.
He talks about all the different, the different fractures in his neck and how it was impossible that he could have done that.
You can't
by simply
commit suicide by strangling yourself.
What?
You can't commit suicide.
See, again though, like, not to discount the guy who had all the charts and the postmortem or whatever, But anybody who's familiar with the criminal justice system knows that it's narrative, right? Like when there's a murder, okay, both sides hire experts, and the experts for the prosecution tell you how the evidence shows it's exactly the way the prosecution is saying it. And then the defense hires an expert that tries to create a shred of doubt by them giving their version of it. So, right? You know what I mean? So, like, you could have 10 experts look at Epstein's neck, and all 10 of them could ostensibly give you a different theory about what was and wasn't possible.
Exactly. And he says
yourself to death, even if you hate life.
Yes, exactly. That literally is an impossibility in a fiction. And there's this idea that what he did is like he leaned forward. Well, none of it matches up. There's that guy that just testified not testified. He was interviewed that was in the cell next to Jeffrey Epstein's, and he said it's just absolutely impossible that he would have been able to do that. Now you have the tape that comes out, and it's not just 1 minute missing from the tape. It's actually 3 minutes from the tape has been overwritten.
Well, you know that's standard protocol at the most secure facility in the country.
Well, that just yeah. I mean, it's and that
Dude,
and
the tape,
just
bro.
That alone. You have someone that everyone absolutely knows that if anything happens to him is going to be you're going to be accused of a gigantic cover-up, and he dies, and the guy.
Dude, yeah, he dies in jail. Right? There's literally a sign of checks. The guy doesn't get checked. There's no working cameras. He had enough bed sheets to hang the entire fucking unit, right? This guy who was a risk and like the most important prisoner in the whole fucking shoe, right? Like, okay, yeah, that's real believable, the way this went down.
His co-conspirator in France, what's his name?
Yeah, Jean-Luc Brunel.
You know, commit or died in mysterious ways in prison.
It's this guy right here, Jean-Luc Brunel. That's a video I posted tonight, is a little bit about him, an introductory into this guy, because he got arrested a couple months after Epstein died. He got arrested shortly after that, or like was sought after. He was kind of on the lam for a while. Then he eventually got arrested, and then he died the same way in his jail cell in 2022.
And, the woman who's living in Australia, she commits suicide.
Virginia Giuffre?
I mean, look, again, I'm feeding into the conspiracy. But clearly, I mean, who believes that he killed himself?
No one.
Nobody.
I've never met anyone who does. But, I mean, to be fair, let's keep it real. He was in a pretty bad situation. It's not like he's in a situation which you wouldn't be suicidal in. I mean, he's being tried for sex
what
trafficking.
kills me about this more than anything?
What?
Is in any way agreeing with Tucker.
Yeah, so the thing about the plane with Epstein was they rented it, right? During the campaign, they rented they rented Epstein's jet. Like, I don't know how, if it's part of some group of planes or whatever, but it was rented for a couple of campaign stops, right? And again, though, right, they chose to rent that plane. Like, they knew what they were renting, okay?
Carlson.
Yeah.
It kills me. And that's the thing that's just doing, I'm like, oh, I don't want to feed into this.
Yeah.
So just from the political side, who am I to know whether he killed himself or not? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Who do you think would have killed him, like CIA mercenaries or something?
No, I don't know.
Other inmates? Because inmates
What,
do.
you mean like a ninja? Are we like in a
Somebody killed him in a 3-minute
James Bond
window.
movie now? What?
I mean, somebody killed him in a 3-minute window.
It was Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. Yeah.
Also, other inmates.
We don't know that somebody killed him in a 3-minute window. We know that somebody got in there in a 3-minute window or whatever. Right? We don't know. And what's more, though, you could actually get in there without being seen. So we don't even know. You know what I'm saying? We don't even know. There is no definitive knowledge of what happened that evening.
Don't accused child molesters.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't think it's very hard, at least from my years of watching Hollywood prison movies.
Yeah.
For something, my whole experience with the prison system. But it seems, at least from other events, that getting to somebody in prison isn't as hard as you think it would be. But I don't know. I mean,
it's not.
You know, I just don't. I think that there were probably a lot of people who would rather him not be alive. And by the way, but does it matter? I mean, at this point, I mean, obviously it matters, and if you could ever figure it out. But it doesn't answer the question of why there's been this slow about face. It's like, you know, that whole story about, and it's too long a story to tell, but it starts off with the guy who calls and he said, you know, he's watching somebody's cat, calls and asks, and the guy calls and how's the cat? And he said, the cat's on the roof. You know this whole thing?
I don't know, but I'll look into it.
He says the cat's on the roof, and then the guy says, what's the cat doing up on the roof? He goes, and he said, call me back in 10 minutes. And he calls him back in 10 minutes. He said, well, the cat's off the roof now, but he fell into the trash can. And the guy goes, well, we'll go get him out of the trash can. He said, well, we get out of the trash can, but, you know, I was carrying him back, and he fell in the pool, and so he's in the pool now. And he goes, and it keeps going and going and going. And finally he goes, you know, how's the cat? And he said, the cat died. And he says, why did you tell me he was on the roof? And he said, I just wanted to soften the blow. And I forget why I just fucking told the cat on the fucking
No,
roof story.
I understand. I understand the blow's getting soft.
What they did is they started off and they released like one thing.
Right.
But it wasn't the full thing, and then they kind of wanted to see if they could kind of get away with that and get people off it and say, well, there's going to be a round 2 of this, and I didn't get it from the FBI, and the Southern District of New York has all the files, and of course it's the Southern District of New York, a bunch of liberal commies up there. You know, we're going to get them under heel, and then when Cash gets in, he's going to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, it's like just a piecemeal moving target that never resolves, right? That's what it is. It's like a moving target, a moving, like there's an escalator that keeps changing direction, but it never, you never arrive anywhere, right?
Old Danny Boy is going to go in and he's going to, you know, shake the trees and make sure.
Here's what we do know, though, is we know that they assigned a bunch of FBI agents to find all of the mentions of Trump. And immediately after they finished engaging in that endeavor, every single person attached to this said, you know what, case closed, nothing to see here. It was definitely a suicide and blah, right? And we're done here. Literally, the minute they finished the Trump sort of like monitoring, everybody was like, we're done here. Nothing left to see, right? This thing's just, yep, no perpetrators, nobody to arrest.
And then they get that, and then those guys go on TV and they say, well, no, there was definitely not a suicide. It was definitely a suicide. It was clearly a suicide. Sorry, I'd be the one to tell you otherwise. And then, like, until the point where they thought that you could just kind of like slide this in on a Friday at midnight and see what happened, that they're not going to do anything more.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. We just heard the end of the Epstein story.
Do you think that they expected this level of backlash?
No, clearly.
They were just used to people just going with whatever they said?
I think that they expected backlash, and that's why they did it the way that they did it. But well, we'll see. They may be right. You know, who knows? They may drop this.
Maybe. They may drop this. They may not drop this, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I saw one of those Harry Enton pieces today, okay? I don't know if you guys saw this, but I think it's worth taking a look at. But he was basically saying it's over, is what he was doing right here. You ready? Look at this shit. Okay, this is fucking our usual Harry Enton. He's pointing out that Google searches. See, I responded to this, okay, and I'll look at my response, which you can see Elon has stifled this. Okay, my response has gotten stifled. But look at this shit. I mean, it's kind of old, a little bit late, but I would think more than 10 people would see it. But look at this clip here about a CNN poll. Okay, watch this.
I would say that this is, from at least a political point of view, quickly turning into a dud of a story. What am I talking about here?
Which is wild.
Which is wild.
This has been for 3 weeks.
Exactly. Now. Take a look here. Google searches for Epstein down 89% versus just 3 weeks ago, falling through the floor. It is no longer the top term searched alongside Donald Trump's name. That's been trading off between Taros and Vladimir Putin, with obviously the meeting coming up later this week. But at this particular point, the American people's interest in this story, it's quickly becoming something of a nothing burger.
Yeah, so he's basically saying, oh, nobody's interested in this. However, it's like, it is not a nothing burger. I can attest that content-wise, like, people are very actively monitoring this, okay? They might not be searching Epstein's name. I think they're searching deeper names. They're starting to search, Ghislaine Maxwell. They're starting to search Nadya Marcinkova, right? They're starting to search other people's names, and they're broadening their fucking experience of it. Now, you see what my reply is? Look at what my reply was. I showed Epstein and Adam Schiff, which is right. I posted, let's put this in perspective though, MAGA shitheads, because this ain't going away. This is the last 7 days of Donald Trump's campaign against Adam Schiff, about Adam Schiff going to prison. Look at Epstein compared to Schiff. Oh shit, dude. Right? It is still highly prevalent compared to some of their distraction stories, okay? Because they are talking about Adam Schiff. They are talking about Russia, right? They're talking about all this other stuff. But Epstein is very outpacing. Now, yes, it is down from a month ago, but like, dude, of course it's down from a month ago. You're not going to maintain that. But I tell you what, guys, September 3rd, when Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie go back to the start of the new session of Congress and they bring some Epstein victims with them, it's going to be right back there. And the reason why this is elevated is because a whole bunch of us are still making content about this. And every time there's a new leak and a new discovery, there's going to be more coming from this. But the fact that he's trying to like sort of launder this shit is pretty wild, saying, ooh, it's a big nothing burger. Let's see what else he says.
Out of sight, out of mind, maybe, is applying here a little bit. But has it impacted, have you seen numbers that have impacted Trump's popularity, favorability, anything?
No, not really. I mean, take a look here. Let's take a look at the overall numbers. Trump's approval rating in July of 2025, it was 45%. It's still well within that margin of error here at 44%. And you compare that to where he was in his first term at this point. He was at 37%. So he's 7.
Dude, I hate this guy, this Harry Enton. I just hate the fucking sound of his voice. Well, so for the record, Grumpy Cat, the thing, mine is not, this is 7 days, okay? This was 7 days, not the last month. If I had gone back like a month or 2 months, you would see that it's way, way down compared to what it was back in like June or whatever when they first did that thing. But I was showing the last 7 days to compare how Epstein was to their newest sort of PR campaign, which is about Adam Schiff. And that's where I think you can see the real effect of Epstein is relative to the things they're trying to get people to search and talk about, right? But yes, 30,000% down is what it is. But yeah, dude, Harry Enton here, dude, he annoys the shit out of me. But again, guys, you ready? I don't think this Epstein shit has to affect his approval, okay? Because the people that love Trump are going to approve of him regardless. And I don't believe his approval is at 44%. That's not accurate. But the thing about this is the primary thing about the Epstein thing is the divide and conquer. You have Laura Loomer and MTG. You have a lot of infighting. You have people going on the air. Let's forget about this. But you have people that were in the Trump belief network that are now going to second guess the truth of things. Okay. Like there is a shadow of doubt with some of these people. Okay, there's a shadow of doubt now.
Points higher, very much in a different political universe now, significantly higher in terms of his overall approval rating than he was at this point in his first term. And more than that, among Republicans, his approval rating is near a record high, hovering right at about that 90% mark. So no, he hasn't lost any of that base. And when it comes to that center of the electorate, he's basically holding on there. And his overall approval rating, 44%, is pretty gosh darn good for him considering where he was at this point in term number 1.
What do you think is behind it? Why they're
I think as long as he keeps getting asked about it, it needs to stay. Every time he does a press conference, there needs to be a question about this shit.
Been more movement.
Yeah, why hasn't there been more movement? I think this is pretty simple. Take a look here. Nation's top issue is the Epstein case. This is the number of respondents. This isn't the percentage of respondents. This is the number of respondents. In our last CNN poll, look at this. 0 respondents said that the Epstein case was the top issue. How about among independents? 0 independents said that. And among Republicans, and therefore overall, just a single one.
Yeah, but look at that, though, guys. Right? I know he's hammering. Nobody thinks this is the most important thing. But look at that. The one person who did think it was the most important thing was in the GOP, guys. That's big. Yeah, I'm not really fucking buying this. I know he's feeding us propaganda, but even with this information, now again, I don't think this is the most important issue to people. Of course not. The cost of living, there's so much more important shit in people's day to day, but that doesn't mean this is going away. Right? It doesn't need to be the number one issue. It just needs to continue haunting. But look at that. One person did say it was the most important issue, and it was in their own party, guys. That's telling, okay? Even if this is accurate, that's telling.
So yes, there used to be a lot of interest in this story, but the bottom line is that even amongst those who had high interest in this story, it wasn't something that they thought was all that important. And as I said at the beginning, the interest in this story has fallen off the table.
Which
also, and again, though, as we can see from my little graph, the interest in the story is still bigger than the distractions by a long shot. And let me just tell you guys, okay, let me just tell you here, right, that if you notice here, because there's a time when I was famous, when I was on Google Trends, the difference between a 60 and a fucking 8, this is massive, okay? This is a massive difference right here. This is a massive, like nobody is looking up Adam Schiff and trying to figure out what's going on with him and the mortgage fraud. Nobody, comparatively, okay? This is a huge search volume difference. So they're distractions. I should actually go and look through some of the other distractions so we can actually build a fucking picture about it.
When you look at this and you compare it to just the attention that Capitol Hill was giving it, Donald Trump supporters were giving it, congressional committees were giving it, it is incongruous.
I would just say this. Donald Trump has some of the best political instincts of any politician I've seen.
Oh my God, dude, he is such a fucking ass kisser. What a fucking clown. But yeah, dude, the story now is Maxwell, for sure. For sure. Let's look at that difference real quick. I want to make sure that none of my personal information is coming up here. Yeah, it looks like Maxwell is kind of neck and neck, right? If we look at the past 7 days, right? Maxwell is pretty neck and neck, but you see what happened here is Epstein was way up and Maxwell, but she spiked up and is kind of taken over, you know? But, you know, they're like, these are still like pretty significant search volumes. The fact that it's still at a 63 from 7 days ago, like, you know, so the way Google Trends works is it's all relative, okay? Like if you look at the past 90 days, you're going to see how it's way down, right? Everything is relative. So July 18th, Epstein was at 100, and now Epstein is at 12. So what that means is it's at 12 compared to that blast, right? But if you were to go back and go 2004 to present, you would see that the 100 here wasn't even as big as it was back in 2019 with the Alexander Acosta thing. So the numbers are all relative, right? So the fact that it's not as present, you know, that it's lost 90% to what it was in that huge thing, that's the way the cycles always are. They're always like rising and falling. But when you look at it compared to Adam Schiff, it is like still like massive. And the fact of the matter is, when you look at it over the last 7 days, right, you see that they're both still in like not losing. It's still at a 60. So it's maintaining fairly consistent within that week. You know what I'm saying? But the point being, though, is that I don't believe that this is a politically dead topic at all. I just think it's kind of in remission because Congress, right? I mean, who are they going to ask about it? How is it in the news, guys? It's not in the news, okay? They're not asking Mike Johnson about it, right? Congress went out of session. Everybody involved left, okay? They left like 3 weeks ago, okay? You know what I'm saying? And so the fact of the matter is once Congress comes back in session and people are getting asked about this every day, and this is becoming a daily part of the news cycle, it's going to like come back into, and as every new thing like pilfers out. But to act like this thing is over, nah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. It is, however, 2 a.m., baby, right? And polls, I mean, dude, polls are all like accurate and not accurate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're sample sizes. So sure, you know, is like, you know, Trump has not cratered, okay? But again, I don't think the point of Epstein is going to crater Trump, because as we've seen, guys, now, okay, as we have seen, I believe that this Trump Epstein situation has moved beyond like Trump's support is not going anywhere, okay? Because we are entrenched now, guys. It is like the North versus the South. Okay, it is literally like we are in the midst of a metaphorical civil war politically, right? Where his support like is not going to waver, right? Because everybody's dug in. But again, guys, I think the important thing of the Epstein is it will affect the generic ballot of general trust in Republicans. It is going to reflect on people's voting. In 2026, they're going to want to vote for the party that's going to investigate this shit, right? That is going to be a part of it. And what's more, though, guys, I think the chief importance of this Epstein thing is to create a shadow of doubt amongst the people in the right wing, to where now they don't believe everything they read as fervently. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think is really important, is that generic ballot, and the fact that now when they see propaganda, it just doesn't quite hit as absorbent as it once did, because they believed so deeply in this Epstein thing and they got disappointed. So there's a tiny seed of disbelief and of doubt that has been planted, that, you know, they're not going to be as easily propagandized. And I'm telling you guys, let me go back to this thing, because I think this chart says a lot. Because, guys, this chart here, where we compare Epstein to Adam Schiff, I believe the impact of the Epstein is why the Adam Schiff thing isn't really taking hold, right? You know what I'm saying? In addition to Epstein still being interesting, they're not going to get this massive spike every time they do the, you know, Obama and Clinton and right? And Adam Schiff and fucking, you know what I mean? Like every scandal now, it's not going to spike because people are just, they're not going to really buy into it as fervently anymore. Every single one of Trump's distractions is losing power now, right? Because in general, people are like, yeah, the Epstein thing just didn't really rub us right. And maybe he doesn't lose a huge amount of support, but his ability to manipulate people is fucking, is running out of steam, okay? And that's factual, right? People are growing numb to his, right? His whole, oh, there's a list. No, there's not a list. Yeah, it's a hoax. Obama wrote it. Comey wrote it. Oh, no, now it was really Virginia Giuffre. It's like, really? Oh, what story are we going to get this time? Oh, yeah, now Trump was like a squirrel fucking ran away with his fucking spa worker, right? And it will definitely be back as soon as Congress gets back in session. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie are all ready to bring it back. All right, the milk is spoiling, baby. And now I'm going to go make some videos, boss. I'm going to keep this shit in the news, okay? I am. I'm going to keep this shit going, guys. I'm fucking keeping it rolling, dude. Let's go. It is time for edit mode.
Paint away, day and night, 6 hearts hope I'm okay. You're alright, goodbye, then if you dare. Someone new is pulling everywhere. I'm afraid to let them. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in pink. Yeah, 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 yeah. After you, I'm afraid of feeling some too soon. Cling to what you're given. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in pink. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, oh, 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 oh. Ooh, oh, 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 oh. I'll see you guys tomorrow, baby. Good night. Ooh, oh, 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 oh. Ooh, oh, 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 oh. Paint away, day and night, 6 hearts hope I'm okay. You're alright, goodbye, then if you dare. Someone new is pulling everywhere. I'm afraid to let them. Nothing is what I say.